to
Andy,
value won't compromise the integrity of the
throwing
packaging.
myself at you, and all you can think about is fucking toys.
They're not fucking toys. This is Iron Man, okay? I got this when I was in 2nd grade. Do you know how hard it is for a kid to not open that?
Hello and welcome once again to the Cine-Files, where each week we enter the world of a great film. We explore its themes, the history, the filmmaking, and the influence it has on us today. My name is Steve Morris. I'm a filmmaker and directing instructor in Los Angeles, California.
Hello, everyone. My name is John Rocha. I'm a writer, producer, host, and voiceover artist here in San Diego, California.
And we are, as you know, continuing our deep dive right into the 40-year-old virgin. What? It sounded weird. Didn't like it. Don't like how I said that. But the point is we're continuing on this film, and we couldn't do this deep dive without our great supporters on patreon.com/thecine-files, as well as Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, and another way you can support our show, of course, is when you listen to it and hear the ads of the people that support, the companies that support our show. If you like the products and services that they're offering and want to try them out, please make sure you use our code, because when you use our code, you get great discounts and you signify to these clients and our sponsors to keep coming back and supporting our show. You all have the power. The people have the power, and if you support our show, that's by purchasing these products, you keep them sponsoring our show, which we would very much.
And all trigger warnings that were issued on our first episode of this are still in effect. We are going to discuss sexual content.
Yes.
Take that wherever it's going to go. And just so you know, where we left off is that Andy had achieved in many ways a huge, huge step, which is he got the phone number of Trish, the sell your stuff on eBay lady.
Yes, a deceptively great scene, because that's how it's supposed to be. As I think I said this on the first part, like when it's supposed to be for you, it's easy. And he got her number without even knowing he was in a conversation to get a number for this woman. And I think that was great.
And we go out to a bar with the guys and celebrate. And they're being very supportive and all very excited. And then Andy says,
Okay, here's a question. When should I call her?
You like her?
Yeah.
You definitely don't want to call her. When is the next Olympics?
John, what do you think of this advice?
I had this advice told to me since I was, 14, 15 years old. When do you call her? A lot of the guys, you wait 2 or 3. In my day, it was like, wait 2 or 3 days. Don't seem eager. Don't call her. Wait. And then other times I would rebel and call her the next day. Sometimes it was the right move. Sometimes it wasn't the right move. Sometimes it was the right move to wait. And the thing I always struggled with is I was someone who, if I met you, I wanted to get to know you immediately. It's kind of how I'm built as a person, whether I'm interested in someone as a friend or as a potential relationship or a dating situation or a one-night stand. I want to get to know you immediately and go where it goes, right? So for a long time, I would beat myself up because of how the guys would make me feel about the desire to get to know this person, that I was desperate or I was too not aggressive. What's the word where you like just want it so quickly? That kind
impatient?
Impatient. Yes, I was impatient, and then I would look needy. That's the big thing guys would always say. You're going to look needy, but yeah. But to be fair, some women like it when you wait, and some women don't like it when you wait. So it just depends.
So again, I will preface all of this by saying that my experience in the dating world is not that much, and so take my thoughts on this for whatever it's worth. But in any area where you're trying to predict the future, humans can't predict the future, and it's just what you said at the end. Yeah, it is very possible that calling that person right away is the wrong choice.
Right.
It is very possible that calling that person right away could be the right choice, depending on the person. And the other thing about it, the question isn't. Yes, there is an issue of whether or not you would look needy or look desperate or look impatient. But the bigger question is, are you desperate or needy?
Right.
If you are desperate or needy, you're probably going to look desperate or needy. Well, and this is what I find interesting about this whole movie is that they are good advice adjacent. You know what I mean? Like there are elements of things that are true. Is that I think that if Andy did call her and did say, my name is Andy on this day, it probably wouldn't go well. So their advice is in the right area, but then the way they give the advice is terrible. And they're terrible people on many levels.
Well, I think this is what, to me, was fascinating watching the movie again before we recorded this particular section of this particular episode, in my mind, I've started to come around this idea, and I feel a little bit like Scott Mance. You know how Mance, in our legendary episode on Blade Runner, said that the Blade Runner was actually Edward James Olmos's character, right? Which I thought was a genius approach to the movie, even though I initially rebelled against it. I am coming around on this idea that if you watch this movie with the belief that these guys are nowhere near as good with women and have way less experience than they are pretending to have with Andy, it's an interesting watch. And it actually is more realistic because guys always overinflate. And I will absolutely generalize on this. I think guys, at least the guys I grew up with, always overinflate their experiences with women because that is the guy culture at the time when I grew up, was that you have to come off as a guy who knows what he's doing with women, who's in demand from women. And of course, teenagers, when high school, that kind of thing, you're in demand of females, I guess I would say. And that was something that was a big deal. And so when I watched the movie this time, I was like, I don't think these guys have as much experience as they claim they do. You never see Seth Rogen, I don't think, with anybody.
No.
Yeah. Paul Rudd is desperate for someone he fell in love with. And he does not try to go. I mean, I know they go and do which we'll get to that scene with all the other women, but like, we never see them interacting that much with any of the women on the dates other than to go after Mindy Kaling for supposedly leading on Paul Rudd's character. But Romany Malco is the one that seems to talk the most about it. But we, again, never see him hooking up with other women. He's the one that's the most believable to me because he seems like very confident who he is as a person. But all the other guys, I think there's a lot of bullshit going on from them, which is why their advice, as you said, is like decent adjacent, but not really well thought out.
Well, I mean, honestly, they've all been infected with their own version of what it means to be a man, that they're trying to act it out. Yeah. I mean, everything you said, and it's you're totally right. And it's in this area. This is this area I was never good at, which is the guys getting together and talking about their exploits. Yeah. And what it is, I realized as you were talking, is that I'm not that into status. Like, I don't like competing with other people for status. And that's what those conversations are about, Like, I'm fairly confident that whatever sexual exploits I've told you about, I did not exaggerate. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that was what they were. Like, I'm not going to, like, try to prove that I'm a greater Lothario than some other person.
No, yeah, you're not the guy that's built like that, for sure.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I know plenty of guys in our group.
Of course. No, me too. It is but I also think that's why I go, like, guys are acting out this role of who they're supposed, what it means to be a guy, you know?
Which is why I think it's a fun way to watch 40-Year Virgin if you think these guys are nowhere near as good with women as they seem to claim they are. So the reason Andy kind of stands out from them is because Andy's the honest one. Andy's the authentic one. And when they try to make Andy inauthentic is when the film leads to some very funny moments, but it's also where you find Andy to be better than all of them because he doesn't come off that way. Even with the woman... Even when Leslie Mann vomits on him, what does he say? He says, I feel like I deserve that. Or I saw that I should have seen that coming or whatever. And he's not even mad at her, right? I think the other guys, if they had shit thrown up on them, would have thrown a hissy fit. But he doesn't. There's just an authenticity to him that makes him stand out from all the others.
Well, Andy, first and foremost, is a nice guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is a nice, that is his goal. The other guy's goal are to be dudes. Yes. In however they define it, sleeping with a lot of women, smoking a lot of weed, obsessing about this one girl.
Or calling each other gay.
Or calling each other gay.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we're going to get to that. Yeah. But it's really, Andy is just like, he wants to be a good person. That is really first and foremost for him, you know?
100%.
And then again, is this adjacent nearby good advice? Maybe it could be Cal goes off basically and says,
you are going to be so bad at sex the first time, you don't want to have sex with someone you like because they'll think you're a weirdo for being so lame at it. You want to have sex with hood rats first so that by the time you get to the girl you do like, you're not terrible at sex. You'll be mediocre at it. Probably still pretty bad, though.
Again, I will say that this is not good advice. It's kind of good advice adjacent. There's something in here, but it's not exactly what Andy needs right now,
Yeah, agreed. And it's the same thing when people say, oh, you know what? The best way to get over somebody is to sleep with a lot of people. And it's like, well, no, not always. For some people, it may be. But for most people, they got to process the loss. Because if you don't, then you get involved in relationships with women who don't know that you're dealing with that and don't know that you got trauma with that. And listen, I've been guilty of this. And you bring that trauma to the dating situation, and then you're making them pay for something they didn't do and they weren't involved in because they weren't in that relationship with you. And that happens both ways, so male, female, however you identify. That happens with all relationships, I think, or can happen with all relationships, I think.
Here's a thought I've just had, and let me see if I can explore it as I say it, which is that, and I'm gonna go back to the horrible term, but I'm going to use it here because it is movie appropriate of putting the pussy on the pedestal.
Yes.
Is we're talking about status.
Right.
Part of status is who is the woman that you've hooked up with. Is that your status is determined by the status of the person that you hook up with. So therefore, if your goal is status and not intimacy or love, then the goal is to hook up with the highest status female.
Yeah.
Which is in a way putting a person on a pedestal. It's saying you are high status. I have to go after you.
Yeah.
And then part of that status is that you're not just going to have sex. You are going to have the greatest sex in the history of sex. The better the sex with the top, supermodel, Playboy centerfold, high status, whatever that is.
Yeah.
The better the sex, the higher your status. All of this adds to your status. And therefore, if that is the goal, Cal's advice is absolutely right. You cannot start with that high status female because you're not capable of having the good sex. Therefore, she will mock you because obviously the high status female will do that. And therefore, it's all disaster.
Right.
If that's the goal. But if the goal is intimacy and love, then losing your virginity with the person that cares about you could be the best possible thing.
Right.
Right. So it's that's why I go it's like, well, how do you frame what success is?
Right.
And their way they're framing what success is not the way I see success.
The guys.
Yes.
Right. Which I think the movie is trying to show you that
Yes.
Andy's way is the way you're supposed to frame success, not the guys.
Yep. And then it's time to celebrate by some serious drinking. And it's a totally fun drinking montage. And Steve Carell is very funny. They're all very funny. And it culminates with them trying to pee, or Steve Carell trying to pee in public. And it's funny.
There's a little Will Ferrell in how he's
totally
acting, right? Will Ferrell from Anchorman and stuff, because he's saying what he's doing and announcing it and stuff, which I think is very funny.
Well, I think Steve Carell and Will Ferrell I put together in a way in just the sense that they're these people that can just be funny.
Yes.
And I don't know what they're doing, except it's funny.
Yes.
And that's what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like magic. Next morning, he's making waffles, pulls out the card, decides to call Trish. She answers, he hangs up.
This guy works out a lot. If you're having pancakes and waffles in multiple breakfast scenes in this movie,
after drinking all night,
which is its own thing, you have, and he doesn't look hungover at all.
No,
you're clearly eating right, eating healthy, and working out correctly. So shout out to him, man.
You're back at the store. He goes up to Jay and says,
Can I ask you something in confidence? I know this is going to sound weird. But am I good looking? Do you think a woman would find me attractive?
I like this scene. I think it's sweet.
Yeah.
And because this is the thing, because Jay is genuinely supportive to Andy in this moment.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that he's watching like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or whatever it is on the TV. So while he's being supportive, he is reacting to the violence and blood and gore playing on all the televisions at the store.
By the way, as a director, Steve, I think that's on purpose.
Oh,
right?
yeah, of course.
Because these are the kind of conversations that dudes don't really have. And so I think what you're seeing, what smartly Judd Apatow does is that for the dudes who are watching this movie, who will watch these kinds of sex comedies, if you balance it out with a horror thing and he's reacting to the horror thing, it doesn't allow you to see the scene as just two dudes talking about another dude's attractiveness, right?
Right.
Balancing out for the dudes who can't deal with dudes talking about their feelings in movies. And so it's really smart. But for those who can look past the horror stuff and see what the scene's really about, there's a lot of joy to be got from the scene. But for those who don't see that and just see the humor going on, it's a fun scene overall. So it's a smart move by Apatow to make it work on two levels.
I'm so glad you brought this up because it's actually like a real important screenwriting trick that people don't know about, or directing trick, which is I've got a scene, the scene kind of works. I mean, it's fine, but it's a little flat. And it's just like, add a third element.
Yeah.
There's a horror movie playing in the background. They have to do the dishes.
Right.
They've lost the remote control for the TV. There's just some other thing that's going on. And then it gives the actors something else to play about, and it makes things suddenly come alive a little bit. So I'm really, really glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
But his solution, he thinks that Andy is a good-looking guy, but there's this Teen Wolf thing on his chest, and so he's trying to convince Andy that he has to wax his chest.
Oh.
And this leads us to by far the most famous scene in this movie, and one of the most famous scenes of movies of this era.
Yeah. Agreed.
John, can I ask you, have you gone to get anything waxed?
Never done that in my entire life. Have no desire to do it. Although I will say this, I have had other dudes tell me about the butt waxing or whatever that goes on, where they take the hair out of your butt crack and your taint. I've heard that the people enjoy that, but I have no desire to do it. Although I have contemplated it a couple of times in the past, but not anytime recently. Yeah.
I have no statistical information on this, but that might be the first use of the word taint on the Cine-Files.
On the Cine-Files, possibly.
It's possible. I don't know.
Unless I was
know.
saying it taint true. Unless I was saying
Taint true. Yeah. Say it taint true, John. So I have been waxed.
Oh, you have?
Once.
Yeah. Well, you're a hairy MFer. So where were you waxed?
I'm not Steve Carell hairy.
No, you're not Wolfman.
No,
Hairy. You're not
I'm
Robert
not
Williams.
Wolfman. But there's hair. I have hair on my body.
Yes.
And there was the time when I lost 80 pounds and I was dressing more, because when you're a fat person and none of your clothes fit, there's not like a desire to have nice clothes. But when I was really skinny, I was like started to buy some nicer clothes, and people like said, "Hey, you're dressing nice. You look nice." And then our dear friend and your former geek buddy, Michael Vogel, says to me, "Have you ever thought about being waxed? You should do it. You're dressing nice. You should." And I went, and I was in my experimental phase, and I was just like, "Sure, I'll try it. Why not? Let's see what that's like."
Right.
And Michael recommended the guy whose name was Ever.
Okay.
And I went to see Ever, and he was very gentle and very kind. And we waxed my chest and my back, and it hurt, but it didn't hurt. I mean, it was fine. It didn't hurt that much.
Right.
I did not have these kinds of problems, but I did do it once.
Yeah.
And it was kind of weird, and it never, ever occurred to me to do it again. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, that's great.
So we arrive at our waxing spa, and there is our waxing expert. And tell us a little bit about her, John.
Yes, this is Miki Mia. And from what I remember from the Grinder. Jesus, The Ringer. You said Michael Vogel, and I thought Grinder. The Ringer oral history of the 40-year-old virgin. And by the way, Michael doesn't mind me saying that because he does use Grinder all the time. But she lied to the production.
Are we going to put his name in the show notes?
Yeah, sure. That's what it was shown. But she lied to the production that she had experience doing this to get the job. But this was just like when you say you can ride a horse and you actually can't ride a horse. She said she was a professional waxer, right? And so Apatow said, quote, "It became very clear that she had never waxed before." And so she did all of this. So when you see her reacting to Carell's, which was authentic, by the way, because they really did it. When you see her reacting to his stuff, and you see her almost like kind of like scared or afraid, and it looks realistic, like she's breaking character, it's because it was. And she wasn't sure that she was actually legitimately hurting him, and especially the nipple scene, which was insane. So yeah, she was really doing this to him and had no experience doing it, but they had cast her already and didn't have time to go find another one because of the tight shooting schedule there, another actress because of the tight shooting schedule they were on.
I mean, there are a lot of scenes in film where when you learn about the film, you find out, oh, that was real. Like the opening of Apocalypse Now, like Martin Sheen is really drunk.
Right.
He's really punching that mirror. Like, this is real. This scene is real. Like, it's just like there is real things happening in this scene. It started, the idea came from the Pretty Woman makeover. Like, they wanted to do the comedy version of the Pretty Woman makeover. And of course, Steve Carell really is that hairy. Yeah. And they went to him and they said, like, listen, if you want this to hurt less, we shave down the hair.
Yeah.
So it's not as long. And that's going to, and Steve Carell said, no, I want this to be real. Let's just go full on.
Take off your shirt.
Okay.
Takes off the shirt and she says,
"Oh, we're gonna need more wax."
I'm staying. This is going to be good.
Michael Vogel did recommend the guy to wax me. He didn't go with me.
Right.
No. He wasn't standing in the room. But here we have all three guys are like, it's really supportive in its way. Like, we're here for you, man. You know?
Yeah. That's so great.
So they shot this, like I said, this is real. So when you do something real, you need a lot of cameras on it because you can't do it again. So there's 4 or maybe 5 cameras. One of them's in a top down.
Yeah.
She spreads that wax on it. We hear jokes about him wearing a sweater and stuff like that. And it's all very sweet. And they go like,
"You won't look good after this, man."
Thanks, man.
Counts down in Korean and she rips it off and he goes,
Oh, you fucker! Oh, I'm sorry. That's just your job.
It's so funny, John.
Yeah. And apparently quite a few people were on the set, like suggesting things for him to say. Rogen had wrote out a bunch of stuff, but Nicholas Stoller, who of course we would see later in a number of other things, was on the set as well and writing lines out for him to say. And Apatow, one of the ones he wanted was the motherfucker that you hear. And it was because he said that he used to go to Action Park in New Jersey. And there's that documentary that came out a couple of years ago about that place. And they had sleds that would go down these cement tracks. And everybody would get, this is what he says, and everybody would get wiped out and their arms would get burned on the cement when you fell off and the skin would get ripped off. So you'd wait in line for antiseptic spray. And when the nurse sprayed it, the most mild-mannered people would just yell, "Motherfucker," instinctively. And he said, I always thought that was one of the funniest things. So I told Steve, every time she pulls it, you have to curse her out. And that's what inspired all of this stuff.
And what's so great about it, it's the cursing mixed with the apologies.
Yes, because he's a nice guy, as you said earlier. Yes.
He's really nice. And so and what that does is it makes the cursing just completely instinctual and unstoppable.
You shouldn't! Oh, I hate you so much.
So we did a short recently on editing and we talked about it a lot in Jaws. And I said that one of the jobs of an editor is to look for verisimilitude. Mm-hmm. Am I looking at the character or am I looking at the actor?
Yeah.
And when you look at Paul Rudd and Seth Rogen in this scene, there is a very clear point where those are not characters.
Yeah, no.
That's just Paul and Seth in a room with a thing, experiencing the thing. That is 100% real what's going on. That is not acting.
Yeah, Romany Malco, when he leaves, is like legitimate like feelings because he's like, watching this was insane. He just said it was an insane thing to experience when you're watching it. So, yeah.
Apparently, I don't know if he did throw up, but he thought he was going to throw up.
And he thought he was going to throw up,
There's blood.
Yeah.
There's like this real blood. I mean, it's just like the Martin Sheen thing in Apocalypse Now. There's really blood on his chest.
Yeah.
And then we get to...
No! Kelly Clarkson!
Seth Rogen wrote that one, the Kelly Clarkson thing, because he said, I had been watching American Idol, is what he said, and I just thought it would be funny, because they had a whole slate of clean ones and dirty ones, and he just wrote down Kelly Clarkson. And he had no idea that was going to be like, as big as it was in terms of the reaction from the audience. But they said the first screening with it, the audience just exploded.
I don't know if she still thinks this, but at one point, Kelly Clarkson said that she thought this was the one thing she would be remembered for.
Well, right. I'm sure at the time maybe she did, because I mean, American Idol was big, but it certainly
But who knew that she would continue?
Right,
yeah,
exactly. And become essentially, a talk show host, basically.
And now his chest is just a patchwork of these spots. And the grossest thing, and this this certainly ever did not do, is her leaving the little strips of hairy, bloody tape all around him on the table.
Yeah,
it's so disgusting.
Yeah.
And then it's time for the nipple.
Yeah.
And you could see his blood, and she did not do this the way you are supposed to. I mean, she could have seriously damaged Steve Carell's
You're supposed
nipple.
to put Vaseline on the nipple, and she didn't. So
yeah. I mean, for all you, let that be a lesson for all you waxers out there. Protect the nipple.
Free the nipple.
Free the nipple. Well, that's later in the speed dating scene.
Yes, it is.
So he continues to swear at her, and then finally he's done. Gets up, bloody patches of hairless skin on his spread out on his chest, and he goes,
"Ooh, I think we're done. I think that's good." Ooh, you know what, guys? This is not a good look for me.
Yeah, it looks almost like a smiley face, a happy smiley face, which I think is genius.
And then him walking home, and you could see the bloodstained shirt, and it's just terrible. We cut to Cal and Andy carrying a TV out with a customer. I think a bunch of this is part of this is in the extended scene, and part of it is not in the extended scene, and I'm not sure which parts are which.
Right.
But basically, Cal is saying that Jay didn't lead him in the right direction, that he should have stopped it, that this grooming thing is not the right way you should go. And you know the epiphany I had here, which is I went, oh, the 40-year-old virgin is like the antimatter universe version of Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. We have these gurus.
Yeah.
Each guru has a sort of different area of expertise, and they're going to guide the socially awkward person out into the world. And Jay's area of expertise is grooming, like one of the, and Cal is like, no, it's not about grooming. It's about how you interact with women. They're all trying to make over Andy, just like Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this came out like right around the same time, I think, is when that started.
That's a good point. Yeah. We're into that as a culture almost, like a pop culture mainstream energy about like doing better about yourself or fixing yourself up, so to speak.
There's a weird way in which this movie is like a transitional moment between where we were and where we're going. So it's like Judd Apatow grew up on Animal House and Caddyshack and all those, and Porky's and all that stuff, and The Breakfast Club and 16 Candles and all that stuff. But he's translating it through a world that's changing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it isn't just Animal House, a bunch of guys trying to get laid, although it structurally seems like that. But it's the story it's telling is actually different,
Yeah, agreed.
They accidentally drop the big screen TV and then pretend that it's not broken inside. And you can clearly hear the glass rattling around from this point forward.
There is a hot-ass girl who works right there. There she is in the bookstore. You should ask her out, man.
And there is Elizabeth Banks.
Elizabeth Banks, of course, who is now a director and actress, did the Charlie's Angels movie, and she's done a lot of stuff recently. Certainly a very outspoken person for women in film and getting more and more opportunities for women in film. But like at this time, she was kind of known for doing, I think, a little more serious stuff. And this came across, and she worked so hard to get this part because she thought it would be great for her to do comedy and show that she could do comedy in this kind of way. And so she jumped at the chance to play this part.
I think she's great in this.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
she's phenomenal in it.
I'm not one of the biggest Elizabeth Banks fans, but this is one of my favorite performances for sure.
And what we get to, and this is Cal's piece of advice.
Okay, the problem most men have is they don't know how to talk to women.
You know what my problem is? I am not interesting. What am I supposed to say? I went to magic camp. I'm an accomplished ventriloquist. Oh, I am a 7th degree imperial yo-yo master. Oh, do me, yo-yo master. I want you to do me because you're the yo-yo guy.
100%.
I had a friend, a good friend. I said something about, well, I'm not cool. And then she said, what? You're really cool. And then she listed that I have a master's degree and that I did, lists all these things. I'm like, those things aren't cool.
Yeah, not to the.
It's like you read a lot of books, you listen to podcasts, you're smart. I'm like, again, not cool.
You wear your superhero t-shirts.
Wear superhero t-shirts. You're not clear. And then what I finally had to say to her, I was like, unfortunately, I think the thing is you're not cool.
Yeah.
So you don't recognize me. So you think I'm cool.
Just ask questions. Okay, that's it. Because women do not care about what you have to say at all, anyway, and all they want to do is talk about themselves. So you're just going to let them do that.
And I love this, and I'm sure that you love this line.
Be cool and be kind of a dick. Here, be David Caruso in Jade.
Okay. I know exactly what you're talking about.
You do. That's good.
I was like, that's such a. When I watched it again, I had forgotten that was the reference. It's such a random reference. Jade of all things.
Well, and knowing that you're such a big NYPD Blue guy is like, because that is the moment when David Caruso had left NYPD Blue, and this was the big movie that was making him a movie star. So
supposedly,
yeah.
It was Jade. It was Jade, and then there was the other one. There was another one that came out with him and Nicolas Cage. I watched that one twice in the theaters. That tells you how much of a David Caruso fan I was. But I can't remember the name of that one, but it was not
I don't know.
a good movie. Yeah.
And I'll just say it again. It's like advice adjacent.
It's advice. Yeah.
But the idea, like I remember when I learned this, it was very clear. Unfortunately, I learned this lesson after I was married, so I couldn't really put it into practice. But I suddenly went, it was when I was on a movie set in North Carolina, and I had written the film. And you know, like you go off to college and you kind of have, I'm sure you went to the army. It's like, oh, I can reinvent myself because I'm with all new people.
Yeah.
It's like I'm on a movie set. I was the writer of the movie set, and I was talking to a lot of women on the set. And it was where I suddenly went, it just clicked for me like, oh, they're just as scared of me as I am of them. Like we're all just human. We all want to be liked. We all want to be paid attention to. We all want people to find us interesting.
Sure.
And I started doing kind of what Cal said, which is I was asking questions.
Yeah.
And when I was talking and I think what Cal is totally wrong about is that the way he frames it is that women are these selfish people who are only interested in themselves and not interested in you. And that's why you ask them questions.
Right.
As opposed to, I actually think there are a lot of women who never get paid attention to by men. You know, men just want what they want out of them and aren't actually interested in them as people. And if you are interested in them as people, it's really, really powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
There's a debate. There's a debate going on in the head of the outlaw about what he wants to say at this
because
moment.
I've, talked to some women who are pretty shitty to me in my life. And no matter what questions I asked, they'd already made up their mind about me because I was either fat or not attractive or not what they wanted. And so it didn't matter any question I wanted.
Of course, there are shitty people.
Yeah.
Like there are shitty people in the world. Absolutely.
Right. So, but what I think is funny though is that Seth Rogen was inspired by this book called The Game from Neil Strauss. And that book that was the movement back then. And I remember reading this book. Someone gave me this book for my birthday, because I was.
I remember talking to you about this book in this era.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Because I had trouble at the time. I was trying to figure out where I was in terms of the women I wanted to meet or get to know. And I was in a transitional place at the time. And I was like, I don't understand why I can't make this work. What's wrong with me? All those kinds of things. And so a friend gave me this book. I read it. It's a very entertaining book. I never put any of the recommendations into practice, but people forget this. But this was just like swing dancing. At this time, in the early 2000s, there were entire organizations, companies that were constructed by dudes who were trying to teach guys who couldn't pick up women how to pick up women. And the main thing it focused on was negging women. And if you've never heard this term before, negging means to essentially criticize the woman, undercut the woman, ask her a lot of questions, but then make fun of her answers. And that is supposed to make her want to get to know you more because from their point of view, and I'm not saying this is true, this is their point of view, is that women are massively insecure people. And so if you play on their insecurities, they will want to be around you because you essentially reaffirm what they feel about themselves. So if they feel that way about themselves, you're reaffirming that, they'll see value in you. This was the logic of this stuff, right? Which is mind-blowing. I'm not saying it doesn't work with some people, right? Because I think every technique works with some people, but it certainly was a big thing at the time. So what you see Carell doing here is asking the questions. He's not undercutting her though. Andy doesn't undercut her, but he asks the questions, and the questions are what lead to some funny responses between the two of them. And they've essentially agreed to do something by the end of this scene that they probably wouldn't have agreed to if they just had a regular conversation. So it's very funny.
Just before we get into the scene, which is hilarious and I can't wait to get to, is I actually think, again, this is all, it's not that those things like the idea of negging, which I find horrible and just awful on every level, there's truthiness there. It's like in the last part, I was talking about my relationship with Karen and how power and status played a part in it.
Yeah.
Is that the stronger that she was, the needier I became. The needier I became, the less attractive I became. When I got angry, I became more attractive. When she became needy, she became less attractive. And then when she got done with me, she became more attractive.
Right.
So that's human. So the idea of negging is a piece of that thing.
Yes.
It's like, where is your status? And it's also like, someone giving you advice, don't call the person right away because you'll look needy or insecure. And it's like, well, if you are needy and insecure, then people can take advantage of that in one way or another, and so
it'll always come through. It'll always come through. Yeah.
And so and so someone they can read the game and then they can neg an insecure woman. and they can hook up with that woman.
Yeah.
But it's not going to lead where they want it to lead, which is really what this movie is about.
Well,
and
yeah, exactly. And as I said earlier, or as I said in one of our shorts that we did recently, like, I don't think anything exists in a vacuum. And I think this idea of these, in essence, these men who had trouble with women, picking up women because they had no game, I think some of those men have become the things that we call incels now because of their inability to just have game. Look, I spent decades just struggling through being unable to talk to women. Doesn't mean I didn't have, periods of time where I was hooking up with multiple women. Yes, I've had those periods of time, but I could never find that person until, Lindley. I could never find that person that I wanted to be with that made sense to me. And I was always trying to figure it out. And I was frustrated and I was mad and I got hurt and I could get mad at some of the women in my life and the way things went down and the way I felt I was being used. But I also, when I did my therapy, had to realize how much I contributed to those toxic situations because I hadn't dealt with my insecurities and low self-esteem. So those are things you have to do the work on yourself. What I feel really abhorrent about these new movements is that the men are perfectly fine. It's the women that are the issue. And that is utter horseshit. Men have to take responsibility for themselves and work on themselves just as much as women do. And to claim that women are all wrong or all like wrong and empowered and you're the person who's clean, you're out of your effing mind. And so I think these movements that were from that time are what led us to what we have now, or contributed to what we have now with this epidemic of lonely, angry men who hate women or think women are trying to trick them or lie to them or use them or abuse them and all this kind of stuff. Instead of realizing that you've got to do the work on yourself so that you can find the right person for you.
I mean, that's the whole journey of this movie. That's what's so great about it is that the whole journey is it's so weird because he does learn, he needs these guys.
Yes.
To get him where he needs to go.
Yes.
And they genuinely care about him.
Yeah.
But they are not the models of where to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are in many ways a cautionary tale. So I think this is spectacularly funny. This little game of questions we're about to get.
Yes.
Can I help you?
I don't know. Can you?
Are you looking for something?
Is there something I should be looking for?
This is amazing.
It's so good because it works so perfectly.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a lot of books, so maybe it depends on what you like.
What do you like?
We have a great section of do-it-yourself.
Do you like to do it yourself?
And Elizabeth Banks plays it so well.
Yeah.
Just the growing, I don't know, I'm not sure which word I want to put on it, but there's a growing feeling with Elizabeth Banks as she talks to this very mysterious, sexy guy.
Yeah.
How is the mood striking you now?
It's great.
Well, and I love the shots back to Seth Rogen. And because it's fascinating, because I think it's important, because Seth is like watching this happen, and he's almost like a child, excitedly watching an experiment that he created go right? Because he's just dancing around like kind of, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then when the scene is over, he is like so jazzed and excited about it, right? Because I don't think Seth's ever done this the character that Seth is playing has ever tried this technique. And so he gets Andy to do it. And he's almost like an excited kid watching someone else do what he was hoping he could do, and I love that. Extra
to me, it's like if Luke Skywalker pulled the X-Wing out of the swamp on the first try, Yeah.
And Yoda's like excited.
Damn. So now Andy's got some confidence. He's feeling pretty good. So he's back in his little, crazy memorabilia alcove at his place, and he pulls out the card again. He's talking through what he's going to say to Trish. Always good, John, to rehearse what you say on the phone before you say it. Worked out perfectly in Fargo and many other films we've seen.
Oh, sure. Especially Swingers.
Swingers. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Someday we will do Swingers.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And the phone call in Swingers is the single most painful moment in any movie ever in history, as far as I'm concerned.
It is the greatest horror scene in any film ever, and I will take no criticism of that.
Hello?
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing?
I'm well.
Who is this?
This is James.
And he hits himself with the phone and then tries to sell her laundry detergent. And then you get to hear Catherine Keener just lay into him.
Yeah, which I think is great.
Are you at the top of a tall building? Can you get to a roof quickly? Jump off! I mean, you people are sick. Get a real fucking job, why don't you? Go shoot yourself in the fucking head. Hey, why don't you just, get a knife and run into it? Why don't you do that, huh?
Okay.
All right, I'll see you later, James.
Nice to talk to you.
Fuck your mother, okay? Bye-bye.
So that doesn't go well.
Why? Why does it not go well? Because he's not being himself. Literally. He said James, yeah.
Well, and he is needy and insecure. You can't call when you're needy. I mean, going back to the should you call? It's like, well, if you're calling because you feel super needy and insecure, maybe don't call.
Yeah.
And then doorbell rings because Dave is there with the gift of pornography. I'm going to just say this. I did put a trigger warning. I think that if you look at pornography, I, of course, never have, but I've heard about it. I know some things about it. And it would seem to me that if you had pornography, and if you had certain taste in pornography, that is private. You don't share, here's what I'm into. Like that with some guy. That just seems like something that, why would you do that?
But that's why he's such a fucking great character in the movie, because he genuinely does want to help Andy, but he's like an elephant in a china shop. Like he's just, and I mean China like the plates. But because he just is so supremely clumsy and awkward about it in such a big way that he is shattering stuff all over the place, And so him bringing in like this monster box of porn, he didn't even go like, well, let me pick a few out, put it in a shoebox, just a few of the ones that he might like. He just brings the whole damn library and he's like, here, man, just take what you need. I think is hilarious. Because again, he's coming from a good place, but he's just so utterly stupid about it, which is funny.
You know what the possibility is, and it's sort of like what you were saying about that Cal hasn't done all the things that he's saying he's doing. Totally. A possibility here, I think, is that he's kind of a porn addict and sees his pornography as like part of his obsession with Amy and part of the thing he has to move past. And so he is pawning off he's trying to get his porn out of his house. Well, this is his way of going cold turkey by pawning it off on Andy,
Yes.
And yes, there's some jokes with porn titles, because you can't have porn movies without having jokes about porn titles,
which was a big thing back then. Yeah.
He also has a mixtape. Again, this is where I go, like, giving someone your porn mixtape is something. And everybody loves Raymond because it's just a really good show.
I mean, it's a good show.
I don't want this stuff, okay? Because I don't do that much.
What, masturbate?
Yeah.
Dude, I've jacked it twice since I've been here. Are you kidding me? Why not?
I love that.
And
twice since you walked in.
And this is where I go back to Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, which is that Andy needs us to know about sex. Like this is the person who comes and says, you need to learn how to do these things.
Right.
Because Andy doesn't masturbate. Now, I'm not entirely sure has Andy never masturbated?
Right. He said he doesn't do it that much. That's what he said. He didn't say he's never done it. Right.
There's one of the deleted scenes, which I kind of wish was in the movie, which is like Andy's mom handing him a boxed toy, basically saying, take care of this and never touch it, never open it up. And it's so metaphorically perfect for the things that Andy has not touched or opened up,
It's not a hobby of mine.
Well, then that's the only hobby you don't have.
And we look around at all the stuff and all the action figures and all the sealed ones.
You're like one of these action figures, all hermetically sealed in your box. You gotta play with it.
Don't take it out. I'm sorry. You know what? It's just, it loses its value if you take it out of its packaging.
Because it's a virgin. That is its value. Is it's virgin. It's a virgin action figure.
David, it's not just
Andy, for the last time, I don't want your giant box of pornography.
No, come on, man. So uncool.
Which I think is a terrible thing to do.
Terrible.
But again, as I said, this guy is trying to do the right thing. He's just so incredibly terrible at trying to do the right thing that he just smashes through walls.
But let me ask this question.
Yeah.
If you found out that your virgin friend, in fact, also had never masturbated.
Yes.
And you like this person, would you feel, I don't know how to ask this, because everybody gets to live their life how they want to live their life. If you want to live your life and be a virgin and not masturbate and be that's fine. That's totally great.
Right.
But there's a certain point, like if I had a close friend, I might go, hey, dude, have you thought about?
Yeah.
Seems like you're out.
Yeah, no, I would never do that. I think everyone's got their own journey to go on. And I try really hard not to give advice unless I'm asked to give advice. Now, if we're out there drinking and talking shit, of course, but like I wouldn't earnestly do that because I think that's your own business and your own journey. And I'm not judging anybody who would want to do that, right? It's everyone approaches it differently, but I like to let people, because I really hate it when people give me advice and I didn't ask for it. It drove me insane sometimes, especially in our group of friends. Yeah, oh my God.
You know a thing that might help you with your hatred of people you give you advice? Let me tell you some thoughts I have on this topic. So I actually think, and I think part of it, I honestly think this goes right back to the Garden of Eden and original sin is that is that we've placed sex, we put it up on a pedestal. We've made it this thing that's much, much more important than it actually is. And I'm not saying it's not important.
Right.
I'm just saying it isn't. Losing your virginity is not the be all end all of life. You know, it is what it is. It is a thing.
Yeah. But I don't think this generation or the last couple of generations see virginity as a big deal. I don't. I've been reading a lot of studies recently about how younger generations view sex, view movie scenes that have sex. They're not caught up in losing their virginity. They're not caught up in sexual stuff. Like I think we had the run of depraved sexuality after us when, you heard those jokes about blowjob contests at the mall. Like it was crazy. But these most recent two generations is what I've been reading a lot of sociology reports on is like, they don't see sex as something to be attained or go after or try to get as many women as possible. It's a very different approach. And so I think what you're saying is the attitude that people have nowadays, that virginity is not a big deal, and losing your virginity is not a big deal. You do it when you want to do it, and there's no rush to do it, which I think is great.
What else I think is great is the way that Andy decides to treat himself right before this event. He's got the pornography. He's determined to have a romantic night alone. He's lighting candles. He has his outfits. He's turning the photos away. Now, some of this is in the extended version. Some of it is not. But needless to say, as he puts on the DVD, the person that appears, depending on how much we see of her, depends on which version of this film you watch, but it is Stormy Daniels.
Hey-oh, Stormy Daniels.
I don't know if I have a comment.
I mean, I just think it's incredible timing of life. Stormy Daniels of all people. And that was like her heyday, right?
Yeah.
And
he basically, you could see him start out like he's going to try, and then immediately, as soon as he gets to sex, he's fast forwarding, ends up watching Everybody Loves Raymond, which is a good show.
I don't know if it's as good at sex, but it's a good show.
Hey Andy, what are you doing for lunch?
I don't know. I have a turkey sandwich.
We're gonna go around the corner. I think you should come with us. This is a great place. A lot of cute girls.
Okay.
We brought you a shirt.
As soon as someone says we brought you a shirt, there's just a lot of meanings there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we show up at speed dating.
Yeah.
Did you do this one, John?
I have never done speed dating, although I've always wanted to try it. I just never had anyone to do it with who was single at the same time as I was. I think Shannon and I would have been perfect to do something like this. Vogel's gay, so it wouldn't have made any sense. And everyone else I knew was in long-term relationships. So there was no one I knew at the time who wanted to do this with me years and years ago that I would have done it with. But yeah, I would have totally done it. I got no judgment because it's an interesting experience.
See, and now that I'm single, you can't do it with me because you're in a long-term relationship.
That's true. That's true.
Because
And
this seems totally like what I would like to do. You picture me at a speed dating thing?
Yeah, it seems like you'd be so uncomfortable in this situation.
Oh my God.
But I think you'd have like great conversations and maybe get one number the whole time. But
honestly,
not a negative, you know.
So I'm going to be very, very honest with you. I actually think I would do great at this.
Yeah.
If I really wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
I'm good at talking to people.
Right.
And I'm an interesting person to talk to. They would have conversations with me. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I am.
All right.
I am confident after almost, this might be our 450th episode, by the way. After 450 episodes of talking to you on the show,
yes,
I say interesting stuff sometimes. I'm confident in my ability to say stuff.
Okay.
So I actually think I do okay in the speed dating thing. It does not sound like a fun thing to me.
Yeah.
It is, however, a perfect thing for improvisational actors.
Oh God, yes.
Because it's just do another one. We cast a bunch of funny people.
Yeah.
We put funny people in front of the funny people, and we say, do one of these, do one of these. And there are more of them in the extended edition. And this is, and the thing I would point out about the extended edition in this particular case for this movie is that we've always talked about in general, it's usually not as good. There's a reason that they took out what they took out.
Right.
This kind of a movie where you're doing bits.
Yeah.
It's really picking, of course, you want to pick the bit that advances the story. You have to have that. And then you want to pick the bit that's funniest. And a lot of the bits that are in the extended edition or the deleted scenes, they're funny.
Yeah.
And if you had swapped this bit in for that bit, the movie would probably be relatively the same, I think. They just chose the ones that they chose.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
Are you fine?
Yeah.
You're fine then.
Are you fucking retarded? The hell's the matter with you?
Do you want me to be fucking retarded?
Well, the first woman who walks up, that's Gillian Vigman, and she was on Mad TV for a season right before she did this movie. And she's recently been in The Holdovers as the the mother of one of the child that is in the film, the young kid, and then did a bunch of stuff throughout her career. So she's a very funny actress that works all the time. It's a perfect way to lead it off with her. And she's even the voice of Tiana on Star Trek Lower Decks for 50 episodes. Oh. So a very, very talented, accomplished woman. And she's hilarious in this opening. Like, what the hell's wrong with you?
Well, because Andy learned the secret to talking to women, which is you just ask questions. It works perfectly. And that doesn't work this time.
Yeah, because it doesn't work with everybody. Exactly.
Yeah. And then, of course, you have some other women. And then Amy, Mindy Kaling, sits down in front of David.
Amy, what are you doing here?
David.
Not always the biggest Mindy Kaling fan, but she is great in these scenes in the movie. I mean, hilarious.
She's really, really funny. And it really turns to like, oh, Dave's a bad person.
Yeah.
Like it's not cool.
What a
what's going on.
surprise that if you just listen to one side of what went wrong in a relationship, you're going to get a very, very, very biased side of what went wrong in a relationship. So no surprise, you're right. As we hear her talk about what Andy's been doing, it's like, oh my God.
Remember that time when we made love and you cried in my arms?
Please don't reminisce about the times we fucked, please. It's so creepy.
Let's go to Paris. I want to take you underneath the Eiffel Tower and make love to you.
Cut it out.
Cut what out?
This going to Paris, we've been broken up for like 2 years, man. I don't want to date you anymore.
You're a whore.
Terrible.
It's terrible.
If it wasn't Paul Rudd, just about anybody else, it would come off really terrible. Like, this dude is a horrible person. But because it's Paul Rudd, people loves him. Everyone loves him. You just kind of feel sympathy for him that he's like so desperate that he launches these attacks on her. And Mindy Kaling's Amy just rolls with it, because she knows he's done this stupid shit to her before.
I mean, she seems like the better the bigger person on 100%. So many levels.
Yeah.
Like, because she doesn't act freaked out or, furious or violent or anything. She's like, this is so stupid. Like, you're a moron, like, stop it.
She almost, I don't want, and of course the females in our audience can let us know how if we're right or wrong on this, but it almost feels like she feels sorry for him.
Yeah.
And she broke up with him because she knew she wasn't going to be able to she didn't want to do this with him. Like, she didn't want to be his caretaker in essence for his emotions all the time, because he's an incredibly insecure guy, clearly. And so she didn't want to do that. And so she ended it quickly. And within like 3 or 4 months, I think is what we hear about in the film. and he's still obsessed with her, and so it's funny.
My favorite of the women is probably, and this is a Paul Rudd joke.
And you are Gina?
Gina. Hey, what's up?
Nothing.
Look, I'm gonna be real honest with you. It's been a long time since I've been with a man. Spent a lot of time with the ladies. Looking to get back up on that pogo stick, you know what I'm saying?
Excuse me?
The great Mo Collins, man. The great Mo Collins. She is one of my favorite parts of Parks and Recreation because she's the talk show host whenever she comes on to be the talk show host. And she is an incredibly good dramatic and comedic actress because she's been in Fear the Walking Dead recently for 47 episodes. So she has a great ability to play comedy or drama. Supremely talented woman, man. Yeah, she's so funny. Gina, what's up?
It's really good. And then Amy ends up with Cal, and at first he scolds her because he's on Team Dave.
You need to stop fucking around with my friend, okay? Because you're giving him hope and it's driving the man crazy.
I moved, I changed my email address, my phone number. Okay, he's practically stalking me.
Well, I didn't know all that, so I'm sorry.
This was genius. It's a great delivery of that line. Before we leave the dating scene, I want to give another shout out to Mo Collins because when she says like,
You're a good looking man.
Thank you.
Very pretty. Real soft, delicate features. They're real feminine, which is good for me because that would be a simple sort of transition, you know what I'm saying?
and says, what do you feel about me throwing some rouge on you, tucking your sack back? I lose it every goddamn time. As it's just such a perfect thing. And I immediately think of Silence of the Lambs with what he does when he does his little dance around James Gumb. So I just think it's my favorite moment. As you said, she's the best one of them all, but that is my favorite thing when she says, throw some rouge on you, tuck your sack back. I just lose it for that.
It's great. And then we cut to, and you know how on the Cine-Files, we love movie magic.
Yeah.
And we like to talk about how movies are made. And so there's a very important live, not CGI special effect that occurs where they've obviously wired the seam of a woman's dress to slowly pull it open, thus revealing the nipple on her large breast.
Yeah.
While Andy talks to her.
That's hilarious. Steve Carell's face through this whole conversation is just genius. And God love her for doing this scene this way because it's so funny.
It's funny. That's that's why there are things that are offensive and there are things that are exploitive.
Yeah.
But people have bodies and we go through life and things like this have happened.
Yeah.
You have been in a situation where there was a thing like this in some way.
Yeah, 100%.
And then it's time to head out, at which point Dave is drinking and smoking and completely lost it for running into Amy. And so we're back in the store, and Jay shows up with his girlfriend Jill to confront Andy. I mean, they come in with some energy.
Are you Andy?
Yeah.
Is this yours? Did you write this stuff?
My girlfriend Jill found your speed dating card.
John, have you ever had this moment where you are suddenly pulled into a lie?
Yes. Yes. I covered for a friend one time who sent emails to an ex-girlfriend of his constantly. And his girlfriend found the emails on his computer. I think I've told this story. And she called me up crying and convinced me to tell her whether it was the truth or not. And I eventually broke down and did, which caused them to eventually divorce. But he hated me for quite some time. We're great. We're back to being friends now because they got divorced. But he hated me for a long time because I gave in and got roped into this lie and was initially defending him in the lie and then told the truth.
I mean, I think there's a sliding scale of all these things.
Of course, there is.
I mean, because you're out with the guys, and you don't end up discussing the extra shots you did or the fact that you all dropped acid or something, and you go we're not going to tell everyone about this thing. And then and that's sort of like a passive lie, like a lie of omission. But then there are these other things, like when someone I've had all variations of this, or someone comes up to you and says, if so-and-so asks you about this, I was with you at the time. That's a different kind of lie.
That's a whole nother lie.
Because now you're participating in it. Yeah. You are aiding and abetting the lie.
Right.
It gets into some weird space. And I'm sure that while you and I might have had some experience with these things, Andy has no experience. And yet he jumps in like a champ.
Oh, yeah, right. God, I've been looking for that speed dating card. Thank you so much for bringing it to me.
And the way he says that, he's still behaving just like Andy, not like the person who wrote this card.
So you actually wrote that one girl looked like she was hurting for a squirtin'?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hurting for a squirtin'. I wrote that.
First of all, Jay's a horrible person. Can we just, I mean, this is, and stupid.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes. I mean, yes.
You have no objections to my statement here.
Well, I mean, I don't want to go horrible person. I just think that he's a guy who speaks a certain way about women or about getting women, and let's tell the truth. I'm sure there are some women who speak this way about having sex with men. So it's like it's just that kind of thing. So it's in the context of comedy. So I don't find too much offense in it, especially because when he breaks down later in the movie, it's clear this is a fucked up dude. So yeah,
I mean, the wonderful thing about humanity is you can be simultaneously a horrible person and feel really sad and bad at things at the same time.
I think that is that. Well, we won't get into that. If you can feel horrible about it, I don't think you're a bad person all the way.
I actually, you know what? I agree, but that's actually, you actually have summed up more of my belief systems. I don't generally think people are bad people all the way. That's actually much more what I think. And I'm glad that we went down this road a little bit.
Yeah.
But Andy is, it's like somehow Andy, who's lived alone in his little virginal life, has learned about not only about yes and, but also how to participate in this particular thing.
Oh, so you wrote hoe for show.
Yeah, I remember that girl. She was a hoe. For show.
And by the way, in the background, we see that drunk David is basically accosting a customer who just came in to buy a phone, and he's trying to, he's got his video camera out and he's yelling at Amy. And now we have Jay's girlfriend, Jill, giving Andy a talking to about being a bad person for all the things the guy that she is dating, who is standing next to her, wrote on his card.
Right.
And it's clearly written by a black man. And so Andy has to take on this role.
It's on the accent.
Yeah,
which I think is hilarious. But they do walk the line. Like, it isn't done in a way that's like so stereotypical racist, at least in my opinion. It's done where he's kind of just on the edges, where he's saying things and know what I'm saying? Like it's a certain way that he's delivering it that's comically stupid as opposed to racist in my opinion. And I think it's very funny.
Well, I don't think it's just like you're trying to parse like what is the difference between racism and this other. It's like I don't think at that time or at this time there's anything that I see as racist in the kid. Like, it's more like Andy is taking on the cultural appropriation character, like the white guy who, feels he's perfectly comfortable talking in this way.
Yeah.
The other thing about this, I think is I will call this in the trouble with Apu moment, which is because there was a time where everybody was allowed to do all the accents.
Right.
And so you had white people doing Chinese accents and, different people doing. And now we've kind of said, hey, that's actually can be really, really insulting and insensitive.
Yeah.
But I don't think when this movie came out, we kind of had that thought yet.
No. But I still think it doesn't mean people weren't sensitive to it, which is why I think.
Oh, no, I agree. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, the reason these things happen is that there are a whole bunch of people that are really bothered and feel really, really bad for decades after decades after decades. And they finally speak up and say, hey, this is kind of fucked up. And then society goes, oh, maybe we're not going to make that joke as much anymore. Some people. Yeah.
Now society's like, screw you, deal with your feelings.
Well, it's like, and me, like, I really care about free speech. So I'd rather have people pushing the boundaries a little bit too far and there's pushback than people not allowed to push boundaries. That's my opinion about it. But that means that people get hurt sometimes.
Yep.
You are never gonna meet anybody with that kind of mentality about women, you sick son of a bitch.
Who the fuck are you to put me on trial? I've never even met you. So why don't you back the shit off, all right? And stop with the Inquisition.
The turn this scene takes is fascinating because what it is that Andy's yes and means that he has to start going after Jill.
That's how you talk?
You know what? I don't have to answer to you. You ain't my bitch. Know what I'm saying? So shit, man. Fuck it.
And he goes on. And what's so funny is watching Jay is, I think, the key to the scene.
100%.
Because on the one hand, Andy is being a true good friend. He is saving Jay's life. On the other hand, he's increasingly talking smack about his woman, which it's not really cool.
No. Romany Malco makes this scene. As funny as the dialogue is between Jill and Andy, when Romany Malco's reactions initially encouraging Andy to stand behind the card, and then when Andy crosses that line, as you just said, his reactions of utter horror now that he's going to have to like defend or go against Andy, who is just helping him 3 seconds ago, is hilarious.
Well, and so he totally like disavows Andy. He's like, I just work with the guy. Like, I don't even know the guy. He's a fool. I don't mess with him.
I says, some nice people. He acted a fool. I don't mess with him.
And Andy says,
you should keep your hoe on a leash.
I mean, that's them's fighting words, man.
That's when you go too far, dog. That's when you go.
And of course, this all culminates with David filming his ass and yelling at Amy on the phone. And so that's kind of a problem.
But this is something that I discovered watching the movie. Apatow is so brilliant that in these scenes that can be somewhat problematic or somewhat unsettling or, trying to appeal to the audience, he always has something else going on at the same time.
Yeah, it's a great point.
Right? This happens later on when they start having the conversation about the transsexual prostitute, or transvestite prostitute, rather. Born Identity is on in the background. It's just these little things he does to keep you kind of, a little bit unsettled and distracted as you're watching the comedy. It's smart. It's really smart. And the Paul Rudd doing that thing with all of that is just hilarious as a balance. And the poor customer is just like, I just want to know where the phones are, man. Show me where the phones are. It's genius.
And again, most of us have walked. I haven't walked into a store where something like this has gone on, but I've walked into a store where stuff is going on. And you're like, can I just please get a Mr. Pibb? I've never actually walked into a store to order a Mr. Pibb. So the result, though, of Dave's meltdown,
1990, right?
My grandfather liked Mr. Pibb.
Of course he did, because it was big back then.
So the result of all this is that Andy now has to work the floor, which the guys think is great because it's a way to go talk to women. There's a hot girl right there. Yeah. He walks right past her to talk to an older man. And that's what leads to what you brought up a moment ago, which is Jay calls Andy to invite him to a party. It's really special. We see the guys going, why aren't we invited to a party? We hear it's some kind of special party. Cut to Andy walking down a hall to a hotel room.
Hello? Hello?
And this tall black woman comes out.
Oh. Hello. Hi. Are you here for Jay's party?
Yes, I am Jay's party.
Do you remember, I don't know if you remember this, but when we did Love Actually, and there's the joke about having trans prostitutes at the bachelor party right at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And Michael Vogel said a thing, which is kind of really stuck in my brain, which is,
Well, and it's actually really funny. I had this whole conversation with someone about this joke where it was is this appropriate? Is it not appropriate? And the person I was talking to was like, well, if you had a bachelor party and a bunch of strippers came and they ended up being men, you probably wouldn't be happy about it. And I'm like, 100% accurate. I get that. I was like, but there's a way to make the joke that is more, look, they were all very lovely. It just wasn't what I was looking for. It's like there's a way that you can still have the joke without it just being sort of that like, that feels a little bit like you were just kicking somebody when their entire group was down.
This movie actually did it. If you watch the deleted scene, that's exactly what happens. Is he sits down with the trans woman and a perfectly nice person who you have a nice scene with.
She was really nice, incidentally.
If that sister was a transvestite, that was the Mona Lisa of transvestites.
And the thing is, again, this comes close to the line, but I feel doesn't cross the line into utter disgust, because Romany Malco's character is more caught up in trying to verify the evidence, because he clearly didn't look under the hood, for lack of a better term, and he got a Hummer, as they say, from the prostitute.
That seems to be the implication. Yes,
he's shocked that this has happened, and the two other guys are kind of giving him shit about the fact that he set this up for Andy. But I like this because Andy pushes back, and Andy says to them, "Stop, leave me alone. Stop trying to help. You guys are messing shit up." The gift about Andy in this movie, and I think this is great to talk about with these two scenes back to back, he is not what you think he's being portrayed as. And I mean the royal you, not you, Steve, is that he's not some...
You don't think I'm royal?
No. He's some... Well, none of us are. We're Americans, damn it. he's a sheltered. He's not a sheltered child who's never experienced the world. Andy is aware of the world. The hang up he has is the sex stuff, but he's aware of the world. So when you see him, the fact that he works out and he does all these things, like these are things that he does. He's a normal functioning human being. He just has a thing about sex, and he doesn't necessarily go the dirty route with this stuff. It's not what he's comfortable with, which is his right. But it doesn't mean he's not intelligent, not smart, can't read social cues. Like he's not a socially awkward person. He's just a person who's intimidated by the idea of sex and women. So he's having to so these guys are kind of trying to break him into the situation. And I think that's in those moments where you see him stand up for himself, or when you see him co-opt the situation and become a white black guy in dealing with Jill. That's his way of like navigating these situations to the best he can in those moments. So I appreciate that about his character, you know.
I'm so glad you made this point, because I think this is like key to the movie. Because you really clarified for me the way you said that, because the thing about it is when you hear, oh, this is a 40-year-old virgin,
right?
The thing that pops into people's brain is loser.
Yes, 100%.
So the whole movie is structured based on that. That's our reaction.
Right.
And yet, if you move the virginity thing out, Andy is competent, responsible, kind. He's generous. He has all sorts of skills. He's learned things. If you compare Andy to the other three guys, he is a million years beyond them in every conceivable way.
Yes.
Except that they've had sex.
Yes. And the later the movie goes, you see that he has the potential to leave that smart tech. This is almost like a high school. Those guys are going to stay in high school mentality forever. All three of those guys are going to stay in their high school mentality forever. And he has the chance to break out because, and like in high school sometimes, the person with the most gifts, the person who's the most sensitive, the person who's the most intelligent, most caring, most of the time is the person that's being made fun of the most by the other typical dudes because they have different gifts that don't fit into what you get in high school. And so they have the potential to break out and do much more in the world.
Well, and the thing too is that doesn't mean that Andy's virginity hasn't messed him up. It totally has.
Yes.
Not because the virginity itself is important. It isn't.
Right.
It's because the insecurity around the virginity bled into insecurity in all these areas where Andy absolutely should not be insecure.
Yeah.
And I think this scene is a perfect place because this is where he's really pushing back.
Do you guys even like me? Or is this some sort of cruel joke that you're all in on? Because I'm not a freak. I'm a good person.
And he's really pushing back strongly. And outside the glass box is Elizabeth Banks going, he's just so strong and powerful, you know?
I love that she says he looks like Luke Wilson. I guess Luke Wilson, if I remember correctly, it was a big thing back then in the early 2000s.
There was this brief moment where it was like, Owen is the funny one, but Luke is going to be the movie star.
Right. Old school,
You know?
these other films where he'd been the lead. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And Andy, threatens them with taking away their blank CDs, which is a very early 2000 joke. And then he rushes out the store, goes straight across giant, busy, crowded Ventura Boulevard, cars flying by. One of them almost hits them. And here is how you do this, which is that, of course, they have to block down all of Ventura Boulevard, and you hire precision drivers. And you can't really trust the movie star to be precision because they're an actor. And so you have super great drivers who can drive at high speeds, come very, very close to the actor, and everything will be totally safe. So that's what they tell Steve Carell what's happening. He heads across the street. A car comes, almost hits him.
Wow.
And Steve goes, wow, those precision drivers are amazing. And they're like, yeah, that was a great shot. That wasn't a precision driver. That was a car who got through. They cordoned off all the streets.
Oh, shit.
And one of the car got through, not really understanding what was happening. That was a real live car that almost killed Steve Carell.
Oh my God.
This sends him straight over to, I sell your stuff on eBay.
Yeah.
He reintroduces himself, and he essentially comes right out and says it.
How's business been?
It's coming along. I mean, it takes a while.
Do you want to go out sometime?
Yes, I would like that. That'd be great.
I like it. He's just determined, and he goes through a little bit of small talk, and then boom, drops the bomb. And I love the body position. She is laid back. She's relaxed. Catherine Keener giving that kind of hippie energy to her. I really enjoyed that as in the positioning that they've got them in.
Well, and it's what you said multiple times now, which is when it's right, it's right. Like they feel comfortable with each other. Andy feels, despite all of his discomfort everywhere, he feels comfortable with her.
Yeah.
And we're sort of just starting to talk about some arrangements when Jonah Hill shows up.
Yeah, he had been someone they were looking at, had come in and just kind of impressed them in the audition process. And I think Seth Rogen and him apparently hit it off. And that's why he's in Superbad.
Yeah.
And so, it's what a great introduction into the comedy world, this scene. It's hilarious.
He said he has never been so nervous in his life as he was on the set for this scene. And Jonah Hill, it's so funny. He's also one of those people who's just his own time zone. He's just Jonah Hill, and he has a particular rhythm that's really, really funny. And right now that particular rhythm is trying to buy a pair of goldfish boots. And he does not understand why he can't just buy the boots.
I don't actually sell anything here. I just sell them on eBay.
Oh, I don't get it.
I know.
Okay.
Can you help me?
No, I don't. You're on your own here. Good luck to you and to you. And, I'll give you a call.
Great.
Great. Nice to see
Thanks
you.
for coming in.
And there Jonah Hill is continuing to try to buy the boots.
So I'd just rather buy them from you straight up.
Yeah, I know. I wish it could be that easy, but
I wish too, but you're making it extremely difficult for me.
Apparently he came up with a number of alternates.
I'm sure he did.
The one they landed on, which I think is hilarious.
We're back at Andy's where Cal and David are playing video games. By the way, Paul Rudd is wearing a shirt with his own face on it.
I think it's his mugshot.
Oh, is it really?
Maybe been arrested when he was trying to go after Amy. That's the way I read it. Is my own headcanon is that it's his own mugshot when Amy had him arrested for maybe being around the house or something. We're stalking her or whatever.
It's like a weight has been lifted. Celibacy is the way to go, man. Andy had it right.
I just want to say I've had so many friends who have told me after a bad breakup, you know what? I think I'm just not in relationships anymore. Right. I'm just going to be about myself and be celibate. And it's always bullshit. It's always until the next person shows up.
Yeah, as human beings, we tell ourselves all kinds of shit to navigate tough moments.
No, I'm not gay. I'm just celibate.
I mean, that sounds gay. I just want you to know that this is like the first conversation of like 3 conversations that leads to you being gay. Like, there's this, and then in a year, it's like, oh, I kind of want to get back out there, but I think I like guys. And then there's the big, oh, I'm a gay guy now.
That's a perfect line.
So now we have arrived at the, do you know how I know you're gay? Improv.
Right.
What's funny is a lot of this movie is built on improv, and they had done a whole bunch of improv and felt they had this scene. And then this, you know how I know you're gay thing started at the very end, and they went, we have to start all over. Because this is what this scene is now.
Yeah. I think it's a great scene. I love it because it's 2 straight dudes ball busting each other. And they're not saying negative things about gay people, right? They're saying what do they say about like you put cheese in the sourdough bread? I mean, like these are not necessarily negative things but I do love that it leads to the bumper sticker thing with I like balls on my face. It's like, wait, that's gay? I think it's a great button to the back and forth between them. This could easily have gone. And of course, for anybody who's listening who may be offended by this, totally respect and understand that. But I don't think there is an offensive intention here, right? And I think that's what's fun about the scene, because these 2 guys are 2 pathetic guys. They are 2 pathetic guys when it comes to women. And here they are giving each other shit. And they're playing Mortal Kombat. And by the way, Seth Rogen, that character wearing Fear of a Black Planet, bull fucking shit. That guy doesn't know any of the lyrics or any of the songs from that album. He's only wearing that shirt to be cool, that character. I don't mean Rogen. So I like that element to it as well.
So I think it's important to kind of analyze what the nature of the joke is. When the classic joke, if you were to say someone is gay or accuse someone of being gay, prior to this movie, it was gay is disgusting.
Right.
You are being, and how even the idea.
It's unmanly.
It's unmanly, which is how you get to those aren't pillows in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Right.
Like that is the nature of the joke. Any implication that a man could be attracted to another man was an insult, was essentially fighting words. Yeah. And that's where the joke came from. That's not what's happening here. There's nothing in this scene that says there's anything wrong with being gay.
Yeah.
What this scene is about is saying you're gay. And the thing too, it's it's dudes, it's people, it's funny people. Sometimes we just go on a riff.
Yeah.
And the fun is the riff. The fun is what creative things can I come up with to continue on the riff.
Yeah.
It doesn't have anything to do with insulting gay people, in my opinion. That this scene, that's what it is, you know.
You know how I know you're gay?
How? How do you know I'm gay?
Because you macrameed yourself a pair of jean shorts.
You know I know you're gay? You just told me you're not sleeping with women anymore.
You know how I know that you're gay?
How? Because you're gay and you can tell who other gay people are?
If I lived in LA still, I would do this as a TikTok with Vogel, where we would sit there
totally.
and do and like mouth the words. It would be hilarious.
And of course, while this whole thing is going on, Andy is actually making plans with Trish.
You guys, she's picking me up in an hour.
I think he expects them to go, dude, that's awesome. But that is not what they do.
Oh, drag, dude.
Wait, she's picking you up from here?
Yeah.
That's fucked up, man.
Why?
Why? What is she gonna think when she comes in here? Oh, look, he's got a billion toys.
So what?
And more video games than a teenaged Asian kid.
And I think this really relates to what we were talking about earlier in this episode, which is if you think of the woman as the high status, beautiful person, yeah, they're going to judge the toys. I don't think Trish would judge the toys. She doesn't care.
I don't think you know, right?
No, but you don't know. Of course,
Right.
that's the thing. You don't know in advance.
Right, exactly.
I love, by the way, anytime you can make an Oscar Goldman reference to the $6 Million Man happen, that's my fucking childhood right there.
Yeah, of course.
You know, she's on her way over here, okay?
First you relax, okay?
Just stop calming me down and tell me what I should do.
Okay, we just take everything that's embarrassing and we move it out of here so it doesn't look like you live in Neverland Ranch.
I love this moment because I've been in this moment. Stop telling me to fucking calm down. Let's deal with what I need to do here. All right, focus on that.
In the areas that I'm insecure, I'm like, please just give me an easy to follow set of instructions,
Yes.
and I will do exactly what you tell me to do.
Because I want to get out of the situation.
I just want to get out. So there's a knock on the door. She shows up. The place is entirely empty. And his excuse is they're going to put new carpet in.
Yeah.
And then they go to Benihana. I have been to this Benihana in Encino multiple times. I know exactly. I like Benihana. Maybe some people don't. I think food with the show is a blast. The fried rice is delicious. Little onion volcano. I like the whole thing.
I only went once.
What?
2 years ago for my birthday because I'd never been. And Lindley was like, what? You've never been to Benihana? So she took me to the one that's here in San Diego. It's a little bit northern from where we live. And I had a really great time. We had a wonderful family who was celebrating their birthday with their child there. And it was truly a blast. Now, you know, it wasn't the most well-kept Benihana, but I still had a
some
good
of them
time.
some of them are kind of I think it's one of those things. It's like when it's like the Jungle Cruise at Disneyland.
Yeah.
In the sense that it entirely depends on the person who's cooking for you.
You're right.
If you have an awesome tour on the Jungle Cruise or an awesome Benihana chef, it's great.
Yes.
And if you have one who's had a really long day, it's dumb.
He's just paying the bills.
Yeah.
It's not good.
But they're having a great time. They're getting along really well. There's a family that has a birthday, and then Trish does, which please, anyone listening, don't ever do this to me. Don't fake my birthday at a restaurant. I really don't like it. But they do that for Andy. And then she gives Andy a little kiss.
Yeah.
It's very sweet.
Yes.
Cut to, they're in bed. She's on top of him. It's going to happen, dude.
It's happening.
Wow, this is really going to happen.
She's taking clothes off. It's all going to go down.
Hey, wait, do you have protection?
I don't like guns.
And this is the thing. It's like he needed more help to go on this first date.
Yeah.
Like someone should have told him he should have a condom, and someone probably should have told him he needed to study how to use one. You know,
those three guys. What were they fucking doing? Those three.
This was important information.
Honey, I have condoms right here. Okay. There's, check the expiration date because they were from when I was married, and we didn't have sex that often. That's why there's so many. Okay.
Okay.
This is where having comic geniuses is great because you just hand Steve Carell a bunch of condoms and say, "Go."
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's 20 minutes more of stuff that we haven't seen of just him blowing it up, pulling it on his arm. It's like all this stuff. But then in the midst of this ridiculous silliness, as he's desperately trying to figure out the condoms, the door opens and in walks Kat Dennings.
God, what are you doing? Marla, get the fuck out of my room.
Yeah, Kat Dennings, the great Kat. And this is one of her first, roles. And she auditioned for this quite a few times, thought she didn't get it, and then did eventually get it. And she was really excited to be a part of the movie. And she's great, you know, and of course she's gone on to be, you know, very successful as a sitcom actress. And then of course a very essential part and beloved part for a lot of people of the MCU, you know, so she's such a fucking great actress. And she's very like down to earth about herself, which I think is really rare when it comes to people who become as successful as she is.
Like she has a perfect quality. It connects so well with what Catherine Keener is doing because Catherine Keener's character is so down to earth and kind of out there and normal. And her daughter is too. It really makes sense in terms of this relationship. But I got to say, in terms of embarrassing moments, it's tough to beat the embarrassment in every possible direction. Yeah. Walking in on your mom's boyfriend, that you don't know how to use a condom. You haven't told the new guy that you have a daughter who just walked in for all three of them.
Yeah.
And then of course Andy with a big pile of condoms, and the daughter sees the big pile of condoms and thinks they've had tons of sex. Catherine Keener sees the two. I don't even know what she thinks when she sees the big pile of condoms. I mean, the whole thing is awful.
Yeah. It's a perfect embarrassing moment, but it's also great construction movie-wise, right? Because we're in that moment where like, they're going to do it. But we know you've got to extend this out a little bit longer. How do you extend it out? Have the daughter walk in and stop them just before they're about to do it because of the embarrassment of it all, right? And the daughter is so loud and so angry about it all. And the poor her boyfriend is just kind of like monitoring all of this and taking it all in, which is hilarious.
And the button is great because after the explosion, we're just left with Andy and the boyfriend staring in silent awe, who just looks at this man with dozens of used condoms and says,
"Dude, teach me."
Teach me. The 40-year-old virgin, teach me. Yeah.
It's great. If you were looking at the extended version, you would get to see Andy make a tech support call about getting his erection down, which is it's funny. But there's a reason it's not in there.
Yeah.
And then we're back at the store, and Andy is such a good salesman that he's going to stay a salesman. He's got to wear a tie. He's going to be out there in the world. So he is changing.
You know, Andy, I've been thinking about your problem. I think I might have a solution for you. You ever heard of the term fuck buddy?
This was Jane Lynch's audition. When she did an improv for an audition, she did this thing about, do you need a fuck buddy? And it is really funny.
It's a special friend we fuck.
I would like to admit publicly on this show that I have always had a torch for Jane Lynch. And now I know Jane Lynch is a lesbian, but I have always had a thing for her. And I put her in the camp with Jean Smart. They're just these older women.
Sure.
That I've always had a thing for. And still now, Jean Smart still now in Hacks. I still find her attractive in certain scenes. And so it's like, I've always had this thing for Jane Lynch, and especially in A Mighty Wind. Ooh. So I will admit right now, this is where it all began, was this movie.
I think this is an important admission. And I think there are many lovers of Jane Lynch out there in one way or another who are happy to hear that. I actually think it'd be a really interesting study to examine the non-traditional crushes that people have. You know, I've always been into this part. It'd be really interesting to hear, like, who's your sort of off the beaten track person that you're looking at?
Well, needless to say, a lot of male attention.
I bet, yes.
Especially from our Guatemalan gardener, Javier.
Okay.
You know, Javier, before he made passionate yet gentle love to me for the first time, he serenaded me with a beautiful old Guatemalan love song.
Really?
The song is great.
Cuando arreglan mi cuarto, no encuentro nada.
Also, Jane Lynch has a lovely voice.
Beautiful voice, which of course, as I mentioned in Mighty Wind, you hear that in Mighty Wind as well.
Oh, yeah.
Very gifted, very talented woman.
Yeah, I mean, the smells she gives him, all the stuff she does, it's funny.
She's very, she's subtly sexy in this moment with the way she adjusts her voice, the way she leans into him. Like she's putting it all on the table. And she'll do it again later on in the movie as well.
And then he's with Jay and Cal asking about the date, and he tells them about the disaster. They're shocked to find out that she has a kid that she didn't tell him about.
Listen, you don't want no baby daddy drama. Trust me on this one, all right? For all you know, he in prison right now. Let's say y'all living together. Next thing you know, you the one going on the 1st and the 15th, huh? To pick up the government check? What if he got boys that's on the outside and they stalking you?
Which, by the way, my feelings about one of the reasons that dating doesn't seem that interested in me is that I'm really not that interested in bringing in other families and other people that I have to meet into my world. That doesn't sound like fun to me at all. So I get this.
A lot of drama.
It all seems like drama. And then Cal comes up with what I think is maybe his most brilliant move. In addition to the asking questions things, he says,
You tell her you're a virgin. You test her with this shit, okay? Here, tell me. This is how it's gonna go. Tell me.
I'm a virgin.
Sweet. I like that because you don't have chlamydia.
I think this is really smart on Cal's part. And this is the right direction.
Yeah, I agree. It's an interesting decision to suggest that. But yeah, why not? Put it all on the table now.
Well, I mean, if you really like the person, they're either going to prove why you shouldn't really like them or they're worth really liking.
I am going to tell her.
You should totally tell her, man.
I'm going to.
Because I watched this movie called Liar, Liar, and the message was don't lie. And that was a smart movie.
I think it's fun. If you watch Romany Malco throughout this scene, his faces are great because he's essentially going, in my opinion, what I see is him saying, this dumbass white boy. Like, what is he talking about? I would never do this. And then if you watch Seth Rogen, when Jay is starting the scene, Seth is like, what is he talking about? So both of them have a different approach and are shocked by the other one's approach facially, which I think is great. A nice little subtle comedic moment for them to play.
You know what occurs to me? And again, this thought has only just popped in my mind, so maybe it's not true, but Jay's whole approach is based on lies. Like that's Jay's whole, he lies constantly in jail. The whole appearance thing, I'm not going to say that changing your appearance is a lie exactly, but it's all about manipulating reality. Cal is not that. Cal's whole thing is like, I'm Cal. This is who I am.
Yeah, but Cal is about power dynamics, right? Like,
good point. Sure.
That's the thing, right? With Jay, it's about fear and fear of commitment. So the idea of taking on someone else's children. And I think the angle he has on it is a little bit stereotypical. Like, you could have your boys outside. They could wait in prison. It's a little stereotypical, which you can argue is somewhat racist. But like the other side of it is Seth Rogen's character saying, you've got the upper hand here. Now you can tell her you're a virgin because she didn't tell you she has kids. So now you guys are kind of on even playing. You're not going to scare her away if she didn't scare you away with the kids. So just like in the bookstore, it's about power dynamics in a subconscious way in the way he looks at how to deal with women. So, each of them has their own thing that they're dealing with that I don't think is a positive way to deal with women.
Yeah. Well, this actually brings us to a question from one of our patrons. Jennifer Lewis asks, I personally don't care much for teen sex, drugs, booze movies, but I love 40-Year-Old Virgin. Do you think there is something that sets this movie apart from the others in its genre, or is it just from having older characters?
Yeah, I think the older characters 100% because they're not caught up. They're childish for sure, but because they're older, it allows for the movie to have more nuanced conversations about it, right? Where if you're watching Porky's or you're watching American Pie, these are not kids that are going to have these really complex conversations, or you as the viewer are not going to analyze critically what they're talking about, what's really going on. But with 40-Year-Old Virgin, you have the opportunity to do that. And even when we're about to get into the teenage angle of it with Kat Dennings' character and what she goes through, it's not treated in a way that's necessarily offensive or played for just laughs. There's something more going on. So with 40-Year-Old Virgin, which is what I've been telling people the last couple of weeks when I've been promoting it on my shows, is like, it's a much more intelligent approach to stuff than you might initially think. So I think this is why this film stands out in the way that it does and why I imagine Jennifer likes it,
I agree. And I think it goes to another level too, which is that if you look at Animal House or Porky's or American Pie or any of these, the sex, drugs, and booze are the goal of the movie. If you get the sex, the drugs, and the booze, then your character's won. That was the goal.
Right.
That's what the 40-Year-Old Virgin tells you the goal is. It says this goal is sex because it's about a 40-year-old virgin.
Right.
Except that's not what the movie is about. The movie is actually about intimacy.
Right.
The goal of the movie is it's not, yes, he does get laid by the end of the movie, but that isn't the goal. And that, in fact, the wise men of getting laid are the fools.
Right.
And so the whole thing is actually deconstructing the classic teen sex, drugs, booze movie because it's saying that's empty.
Right.
We think that's where we're going, but what we want is intimacy.
It's because we also changed from when you saw those comedies in the 80s and even in the 90s to where we are in the early 2000s, where comedic sensibilities and the idea of sex is changing for people.
Yeah. So Andy's made this decision. He's talking himself up while painting some D&D figures and explaining what he's going to say to her. And he says,
I love that you know those are D&D figures, you effing nerd. I love that you know those.
Apparently your ignorance is so far that you don't recognize a D&D figure when you see it.
I accept my ignorance on that end for sure.
Well, I knew it. You know what? I knew that you'd react that way, and I knew that you would want to lead me through my first sexual encounter with all the compassion and care that someone would give to their soulmate. Oh my God, I'm in trouble.
I have to say, these are the moments where I connect with Andy the most because I have had numerous fake conversations before. I've had actual conversations on dates or in relationships or with people. So I hope I imagine a lot of other people gravitate to this as well.
So Trish picks him up. They end up at a nice restaurant, and they both want to apologize because they both have things to apologize about, but she sort of gets hers out first.
I'm sorry. I just have to get this off my chest. I'm so sorry. I didn't tell you I had kids.
His reaction is so great.
Yeah, what was that about? Gosh, that really surprised me.
And I like that she's still trying to, first she kind of tries to pretend she only has 2 kids when in fact she has 3. And one of her kids has a kid. But we don't condemn Trish because she's Catherine Keener's so likable.
Yeah, she plays it so well and so honest in her fear because of course, which a lot of women talk about. It's once you have children and you break up or you divorce or you whatever goes on, it's tough to find men who are willing to get into a relationship like that. Yeah. So, you have to kind of play the game a certain way. And so I like that she just kind of, and also as you said earlier, Steve, we've been saying throughout these 2 parts, like the reason they work together is because it's easy and they're honest with each other without necessarily intending to be honest initially, but their care for each other makes that honesty come out,
And I genuinely think, speaking of honesty, that Andy was ready and was going to probably tell her that he was a virgin.
Oh, 100%.
Except that she says,
Listen, Andy, I don't want to send you running for the hills or anything, but I really feel like if we decide to do this again, then maybe we should hold off on the physical part for a while.
That is a fantastic idea.
I've totally had the moment where I had to say something serious and then someone said something that made it like I could get away without saying the thing. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. Let's do that. And then they basically, they essentially dare each other into making it longer.
How about 15?
15? Screw your 15. 20 dates.
Okay, 20 dates.
20 dates.
Okay.
This is genius.
It's gonna hurt.
Not as much as you think.
We cut to them making out, but now it's sort of making out with rules, They can explore things without going all the way. And then Marla, who's Kat Dennings, shows up with the younger daughter, and now he does. Why is it that we got magic? The classic magic is always taking things out of ears of people. That's just the go-to.
The way it's been done, I imagine.
I think him doing the little magic tricks, it's right on the line of being too far, but actually I think is super sweet.
Yeah. Oh, very much so. It's almost vaudevillian, isn't it, in that way that it does those tricks?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like, yeah.
Totally. And the thing too is that what's so great about it is Andy knows that he's a dork.
Yes.
And he's okay with it. He accepts his dorkness.
Because you don't have a car or anything, right?
Right, I don't have a car.
Because he doesn't have a car and he does magic. Awesome.
And sarcasm is like a second language to me, so I'm right there with you.
See, again, in a typical film where this was more one-dimensional, Andy would be being made fun of by her and he wouldn't catch on to it. The fact that he does catch on to it, again, shows you that Andy is a guy who's a little more aware of the world than you might initially think. So I love these little moments that either consciously or subconsciously for the viewer make you feel like this guy has a little more going on than you might initially have thought he did, you know, and I love that. So because it pushes her back, the fact that he calls her out on her sarcasm, which is in a way kind of getting respect from the teenager because you call them out like that.
Well, but he doesn't do it in a confrontational way or a mean way, or it's just a totally, and this is the real thing. It's like, you know, you and I've talked many times about how in our 50s, this thing of not being embarrassed about stuff kind of is hit in this way. Like, I'm okay. Yeah. If people think that this thing I do is weird, I really don't care anymore. You know, I feel like Andy got some of this at 40. Is that he for whatever has happened with some horribly embarrassing things and the drunk girl in the car and other places he's gone. I don't care, you know. Yeah, okay, yeah, I did magic and I have toys and that's he's getting to I don't care, you know.
I hope I get there when I get to my 50s. Yeah.
well, I guess apparently one of the things that you're embarrassed about is that you're in your 50s.
I'm in my 30s. Well, how dare you?
What are you talking about?
Keep going.
By the way, there's a line earlier in the movie where Cal says something about being a novelist, and now there's a deleted scene if you're in the extended version of him actually writing his novel. Nice. But then he does talk to Cal, and he tells what's happened, and that they're having this no pressure thing, and then he mentions that she has 3 kids, one of whom has a kid, and Cal goes, so she's a grandma?
Cal coughs out his weed and goes, is she a grandma?
No.
I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but she's a fucking grandma.
The gay riff is funny. I actually think the hot grandma riff is funnier.
Yeah.
I think this is really funny.
Yeah, well, whatever, you know.
She's the hottest grandma I ever saw.
She is. She's a hot grandma.
Good-looking grandma. My grandma looks like Jack Palance.
Well, she's no Jack Palance.
No, if Jack Palance looked like that lady, I would want to fuck Jack Palance right now.
Yeah, me too.
She's a hot grandma.
Hey, yeah, no, do a grandma, man.
Oh, great stuff. And I love that what'd she say? Like, we're going to have sex during Murder, She Wrote?
That's great. It's just really funny. So, and again, this is how this works on the set. The grandma thing just came out of an improv, and then Judd Apatow said, okay, cut. Everyone go away and come up with grandma jokes. And so Seth Rogen and, you know, if Paul Rudd's there, he's trying to write grandma jokes. If Jonah Hill was on the set, everyone's trying to come up with grandma. And they hand them all in, and then they shoot again with everyone just rolling out more grandma jokes.
Oh, wow. That's hilarious.
We're back at the store, and Andy's doing so well. Andy's doing so well, Paula's going to promote him to floor manager.
Yeah. Much to Mooge's chagrin, who yells at him.
Yeah.
Curses him out, which is hilarious.
And to replace him in the stockroom, Cal is now in charge and is interviewing young women, and he picks a very attractive woman, which is Marika Domancic.
Yeah,
I didn't say that's Bernadette.
Yeah, she immigrated to the United States as a child from Poland, and she's done a number of shows, TV shows, movies throughout her career. This was like kind of right at the beginning of her career. She'd done a few things in a couple of years beforehand, and then started getting recurring characters in shows like Heist, Brothers and Sisters, Grey's Anatomy for 11 episodes as well, and then recently Girls on the Bus that came out last year. She had 3 episodes, and she was on Barry for a couple episodes a couple of years ago as well. So yeah, still working.
And then you get a long scene with someone who I didn't know at the time, but certainly know now, which is Kevin Hart.
All right, wait. Last thing. I'm also gonna need that extended warranty on it for the price of on the house.
That I can't do.
This scene is my favorite scene of the movie in terms of comedy, to go back to it all the time. Because I have worked retail. I have worked with people who try to use any particular advantage or assumed advantage in order to try to get you to give them things for free. And this is hilarious. And this like kind of microcosm into, and I'll say this delicately, but into the Black community. This idea of like someone who is successful is seen a certain way by certain elements of the Black community. If you're a Black man who wears a tie, you're a sellout. If you're like Chris Rock talked about this in one of his bits, like they celebrate you more leaving prison than they do graduating college. And so it's like this element is the undercurrent of the comedy between these two at this moment, which I think is great.
Now don't be a Negro, be my nigga. All right, help me out.
Hold on. I ain't nobody's nigga.
Well, I mean, you somebody's nigga wearing this nigga tie.
Like this is a whole new color on Jay that we have not seen. And people talk about code switching. Jay code switches to be with a predominantly white job with predominantly white people, right? But when Kevin Hart's character comes in and starts essentially calling out his blackness, that's when Jay, pulls out that card and goes at him with it, which I think is great.
Watch your mouth and help me with the sale.
Okay, see, now you found yourself a nigga. You were looking for a nigga? Nigga here now, see?
Okay.
No, there's so many layers to what's going on. Like one of them is it's as you say, it's like, well, we're both black, therefore you should do this extra thing for me.
Exactly.
And then there's all this pressure, and then there's status things, and there's code switching things, and there's language things. There was an episode of This American Life years ago where apparently there's a thing called the good guy discount. Have you ever heard of this?
No, what is this?
So someone had said, like, if you're buying something at a store and say, I want the good guy discount, sometimes they'll give you 5% off, 10% off, whatever. So a guy just decided to try it. This reporter, he was at Nordstrom, he was at 7-Eleven, everywhere he went when he was making his purchase, he said, hey, can I have the good guy discount? And then sometimes people will go, what is that? And sometimes there'll be an argument, and sometimes he walked away with a 10% discount. Just randomly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like this whole, like I am sure that Kevin Hart's character does this all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes it works.
Yeah.
But we cut to after the scene, Jay crying because Joe broke up with him.
Yeah.
Because he came home with one of his condoms still on.
Yeah. Stupid.
I mean, this is a dumb move. It's so funny because, of course, I'm opposed to people having affairs. I think that's wrong. I think lying to your spouse is wrong. I really hate stupid liars. Like, it really bothers me. I'm also offended by the poor lying skills.
You're double offended. Like, you're offended.
I'm double offended.
I mean, you're more offended. You're stupid about it.
Yeah, it's like, if you're going to do something horrible, be smart about it.
Yeah,
that's really my feeling.
Totally fair. Yeah.
And Andy is supportive and warm, and they hug, and Jay says he loves him, and then we get into more gay jokes because that's just where we're going to go from now on.
I just love that he says, because you two are holding each other gently. That's a great, gently is the key to that line. Gently.
Yep. And then we have your classic dating montage set to the classic song, Believe It or Not, from The Greatest American Hero, which was a big deal in my childhood, by the way, that show.
Oh, yeah.
Very important. We're back at her place, and now she wants to know everything about them, and they're sharing things. And he says that he might not want to work at Smart Tech and that he might want to have his own stereo store. And she 100% supports the idea. Yeah. He worries he doesn't have the money. And that's when she suggests, as the person who works at the I'll Sell Your Stuff on eBay store, selling all of his collectible toys.
And I thought he'd be more resistant to this. But the fact that he goes along with it shows that Andy instinctively knows this is part of growing up a little bit, because they're all, in a way, still stuck in a state of arrested development. And Andy, with all of his toys, I'm not judging anyone who has figures. People have figures. I certainly have some 5 or 6 Funkos behind me, but the level to which Andy is, there's a little bit of the stuck in that state of arrested. Well, there's nothing wrong with it. Everybody has it. So, but like, he realizes, I've got to make this move to be part of this world and be with this person. And so he does it. And I think it's a really grown up, mature reaction from him, as opposed to pouting and being upset about it.
I think it's great from all of them. And I really go, like, how often has Andy had anyone that believes in him?
Yeah.
Right.
Good point.
Like, she believes in him. And that's an incredible feeling. Like, yeah, you could, I think most of his life, if he said, I was thinking of opening my own store, people told him, you can't do that.
You're right.
And here's someone who said yes to him.
Most people usually tell you that you shouldn't do something because they want to keep you where you are. Always remember.
Godspeed, Colonel Steve Austin.
I totally had that exact Steve Austin toy. I had that toy. My memory of it from like the mid 70s or whenever, or late 70s, it wasn't in that good shape when I had it as a kid. It was already, my whole memory of it is already like missing a hand and stuff. And so things are going pretty well. And Andy's even doing well as a manager, except now he gets a phone call from his girlfriend.
Yeah.
So he rides back home, goes inside into the midst of a huge knockdown, drag out fight about sex between Trish and her daughter, Marla.
I will say, growing up as the older brother with a younger sister who would have fights like this with my mom, I tell you, this is something that is a trial by fire for you. If any of you experience this, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes mothers and daughters can say things to each other that can melt the paint off the walls. And you're just like sitting there going, I would never, no matter what fight I have with my mom, I'd never say this. But there's just something about when mothers and daughters fight that it's no holds barred. All the guardrails are off. And certainly this fight, when I'm watching it in the movie, made me think about numerous fights that my sister and my mom had when she was a teenager about her desire to be more independent, more herself, more adult. So yeah, I laugh at the scene from a place of remembered pain of hearing numerous fights like this. I don't know about you.
No, totally. It feels so real, this fight. And what's kind of amazing about it is she's in the middle of a fight with her daughter, and she feels comfortable inviting Andy into the middle of the fight. There's
thank God you're here, right?
Yeah. And Marla is not actually upset that Andy's there. Like that,
Right,
if you would think that she would go, why is he here? Why do you have your boyfriend here? But that's not really what's happening. Right. And the thing is, even though it's an uncomfortable situation, Andy is happy to be there on some level.
Right.
He doesn't feel like it's weird that he's there.
But I'm sex with my boyfriend! But I can't, Mom!
So you want me to take her?
Which is totally bizarre, even thought.
No, I don't want you to take her. I want her to keep it in her pants until she gets to college.
Whoa! Keep it in my pants? Okay, you didn't keep it in your pants, Mom.
Hey, Marla.
I know. I don't want you to make the same mistakes as me, Marla.
Oh, mistakes. Okay, so I was a mistake then.
Oh, you're not a mistake. Your sister was the mistake.
I think that's damn funny.
And she's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
And of course, she's under the impression that, you know, Trish and Andy are having crazy sex all the time because she saw a pile of condoms, theoretically used condoms.
You and your boyfriend have sex all the time!
Oh my God! Are you kidding? We never have sex. Do we ever have sex?
No, we don't.
Closes the door and slams and just incoherent screaming.
So great.
And Andy agrees he's going to take her to the clinic.
He convinces her to let him take her to the clinic, which I think is a hell of a bold move by Andy. Again, showing that Andy is more aware of the world than people think initially from the beginning of this movie. Yeah.
And they go to the clinic, and we have some funny visuals with him playing of an anatomical model of certain female parts.
Yeah.
And then we cut to a session with some other parents and kids. And the person leading the session is Steve Carell's wife, Nancy.
Yes. Yeah. Who was, a part of the casting in this movie and part of helping with getting the movie done as well. So yeah, great that she got a part. Who I always thought was great on The Daily Show, and it was a shame when she stepped away. And I get it; she wanted to raise the kids and all of that. Steve was out, and he was the one that was, kind of being successful. And I totally understand that. But she is always funny whenever I see her in anything, and I always think it's a crime that she was never got to be bigger.
By the way, I've never taken a child to a clinic to get birth control, but I'm almost certain this is not how it works.
Probably.
Like, really bizarre. But we're having this little session, and we have some parents with their kids there, one of whom is someone who's familiar to anyone who's seen Anchorman, which is David Koechner.
Yeah. Champ, who I think is hilarious. And this was right when he was appearing in like everything.
Here's a cute story. I came home the other day, and he is with his girlfriend in my marital bed doing things that are illegal in Alabama. Sex acts, right? Things that my wife won't do, okay?
Did you have a question?
How do I get my wife to do that?
I mean, it's a good setup and joke. We have a couple of these with the other kids that are there.
One of them wants to stop the menstrual cycle, and that's the guy from Reno 911 who's hilarious. Yeah.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
Is that a serious question?
And then he asks about activities you can engage with without having sex that are both fun and safe.
Well, instead of having intercourse, you could have outer course.
Outer course? What's that?
Yeah, what is that?
What's funny about the scene is that now this person, Steve Carell's wife, Nancy, is going to give some information of things to do. And it's Andy's enthusiastic, positive reinforcement in talking to Marla that is really what makes the scene funny.
Yes, agreed.
Let's see. There are things like body rubbing or dry humping.
You could dry hump.
Finally, it comes out that Marla is a virgin, and people are making fun of her in the room. And so Andy raises his hand and says, you know what? I'm a virgin too.
Yeah.
And everyone makes fun of Andy.
It's a great move. He puts himself in the firing line to protect her. It's a great move. Yeah.
Well, I think, and it's like he's been building this confidence in himself. Like we both felt like he would have told Trish that he was a virgin earlier in the scene. He's been preparing himself to. He's essentially, you know what it is that Andy in this movie is coming out of the closet of being a virgin.
Yes.
And part of it is like, and I think about this is like it used to be. Being gay was really, really bad. So when you came out of the closet, you were essentially coming out and saying, I'm what everyone in this world thinks is really, really bad.
Right.
And supposed to what it is, I think much more now, I hope, is, hey, here's this thing that I haven't told everyone that's totally okay. And I am okay with being this thing, you know?
Well, I think in certain sections of the world, yes, it is that. But in other sections of the world, it's still very much not that, sadly. Especially if you grow up in a house like that. That can affect who you are as a person if you're being constantly rejected for who you are.
Totally. But I do think it's interesting that as Andy is moving towards losing his virginity, he's also maybe moving towards being more okay with his virginity.
Yes. 100%.
You know?
Yes.
So we're driving with Marla in silence, and Andy does try to scramble out of it at this moment. He says,
So I made that all up to help you out.
No, you didn't. But, thank you for doing that.
How can you tell?
Well, you know, I go to school with like 400 guys who are all trying to have sex. And, yeah, so I can tell who's done it.
Of course.
I really like Marla's character, particularly in this scene.
And I think it's interesting because she's driving, right?
Yeah.
Again, he doesn't drive the cars because he's not covered on the insurance. I don't even know if he can drive, to be honest.
I don't think he can.
No, he can't, right? Because she's teaching him how to drive in the montage.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes, that's right. But yeah, I like this back and forth too. And it's just how sometimes it can work with a teenager. If you just kind of go into their world a little bit, treat them like an adult, respect them, you never know what the result. It doesn't mean the result will be this way every time, but you never know how much they actually will open up and talk to you about what's really going on with them. So it's a matter of you wading through the thicket at times to get to what's there in the center.
What I think is really interesting, I think it's something that essentially transpired in the silence, which is that when she met Andy was a sex maniac because they've had, there's 20 used condoms on the bed. So obviously that's who Andy is. And her next several interactions, she continues to have that in her brain. And then Andy doesn't have a car and is doing magic tricks. And she's going, this does not add up. Like something isn't quite right. She doesn't understand Andy, the sex addict doesn't mix with the magic tricks, And then he says this thing about a virgin. And I think in the last 20 minutes at the end of the meeting and driving for a while in the car, she started to put things together until she's like, oh, this now makes sense. That's what's happened.
Yeah, because if you watch, you're right, exactly. Because you watch her in the meeting, she gives him a couple of side eyes when he asks, like, what is outer course? Yeah, it's great. You're right.
You really haven't.
No, I really haven't. Please don't tell your mom, okay?
Yeah, I won't.
Thanks.
But, when are you gonna tell her?
Believe me, I'm working on it. I am working on it.
What's really key to this too is now we know he has to tell her. It's coming.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like we're not messing around anymore. This has got to come out.
Right.
And then it's Andy and Trish, and the toys are selling really well. They're making lots and lots of money.
And that's not the only good news.
What?
You know what tonight is?
Survivor Zone?
No.
No. Is it The Apprentice?
No.
What?
It's our 20th date.
And I'm just going to say Trish is ready.
100%.
I mean, frankly, Trish was pretty ready on their first date.
Right.
But she is really ready now because this is a great guy. Like she's in love with him.
Right.
Yeah.
It's amazing how that works. If you just don't get caught up in the sex or achieving the sex, if you just kind of get to know the person, there's all kinds of things that can happen, and that will make the sex even more incredible.
I really like you. think I'm falling for you. I don't know, I kind of see this going somewhere.
I do too.
I just think we should just go crazy on each other.
Okay.
Okay?
Where, I mean, this is exactly the scene you want romantically, you know? And she gets on top of him and the boxes get scattered and the boxes become his escape route.
We'll get
Listen,
it later.
no, I can't. No,
No,
listen, it's really important because once the integrity of the box gets compromised, this is original packaging, and that's why these things are so valuable. So you don't screw with that. You really don't want to screw with that.
And you could see how hurt she is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's rejecting her and she feels rejected and she doesn't understand, you know, what's happening.
Because he hasn't told her the truth.
Yeah.
And it's a metaphor, obviously, for the boxes are him. He's in the box. Yeah.
He's in the box.
What's in a box?
Jesus. Don't cross those streams. I don't want to cross the 40-year-old virgin with 7.
We don't lose the
Andy,
value. We don't
I'm
compromise the integrity of the
Throwing
packaging.
myself at you, and all you can think about is fucking toys.
They're not fucking toys. This is Iron Man, okay? I got this when I was in 2nd grade. Do you know how hard it is for a kid to not open that?
Oof. There it is.
I mean, it is hard for a kid not to open up his packages. That's certainly true. But it is such a moment of, it's all of that stuff. It's all, you know what it is? It's homeostasis, is it's what you said earlier. We want things to stay the same. People want people they know to stay the same. We want our lives to stay the same. And when things really look like they're about to change, part of our psychology just locks it down.
Yeah.
Don't change.
And all the things he's yelling at her are because he's defensive, because she's wanting to make this decision and they wanted to go forward with what they'd agreed upon, and he's not feeling. So all this stuff is coming out, you know, that he was probably feeling already, but was okay with it as long as she was supportive and didn't push him into a place he didn't want to go. Well, here's him pushing back with all the things that he's probably been thinking about through this whole process, because he's made a lot of changes since he met her, and so here's it all coming out. You know,
I'm going to say something totally silly, but I just suddenly went, you know what this movie is? This is Good Will Hunting. And this scene, this is why I thought of it, is this scene is the fight with
with
what's
Skylar.
her name?
Skylar.
With Skylar. Yeah. Is that where she goes, I don't want to take back. And he's lied to her about stuff. And she's getting closer and closer to him. And he's freaking out about the closeness. And he has this oversized reaction. Plus, the whole movie is like, essentially the 3 guys are Robin Williams. You know, here's Andy, this person with all this potential, but he has to get back this thing in order to unlock his potential.
Well, no, I don't think the 3 guys are
breakdown.
Rob Williams. I think the 3 guys are Ben Affleck, Casey Affleck, and Cole Hauser. I think that's who those guys, because they're stupid in trying to help him, just like those guys are. They're kind of stupid in trying to help him. Robin Williams,
both, because I'll contend they do help him.
Yes, of course. They all three in both of the movies help them, but they're kind of clumsy in how they help him, but they do help him.
I'm not trying to change you. I like you. I'm trying to help you grow up, Andy.
Well, thanks a lot.
I mean, my God, you ride a bicycle to work in a stock room.
You know what? I'm not in the stock room anymore. I'm a floor manager.
Okay.
And I ride a bike because I like to. Einstein rode a bike.
I love Trish's comeback.
He had a wife who he fucked, by the way. What do I have to do for you to have sex with me? Do you want me to dress up like Thor? I'll dress up like Thor. I'll dress up like Iron Man. What do they do? I'll do it.
And I think she totally means it.
Oh,
By the
100%.
way,
100%.
she will totally dress up like Thor.
But this happens, and happens, Mike. You know, you have that moment because your partner wants you to embrace your possibility. Now, this isn't probably the best time to do it in the middle of a fight, but like, she is coming from a place of going like, there's more you can be and there's more you can achieve in this world. You've got the potential to do it. And maybe no one's, as you said, Steve, earlier, no one's told Andy this in his life consistently. We don't know what happened to his parents. We don't know if he's got brothers and sisters. We don't know any of that stuff, right? So she's the one that's showing support. And in a way, she's, by her calling him out on this, she's trying to show him support. And even when he pushes back angrily, she's saying like, you know, the sex thing, as you said, I'll dress up or whatever. That's her trying to meet him where he's at, what she thinks he's at, which I think is the mark of a good partner as well.
It doesn't feel good when someone that you want to be attracted to you suddenly seems like they're not attracted to you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not It's not cool. It hurts. It hurts a lot.
Everything's always about sex.
Why do you want to have sex with me? Why not? Tell me. You tell me the truth. Is it because I have a kid who has a kid? Is that why?
No, it's cool that you're a grandmother. I love the fact that you're a grandmother.
Oh, God!
You are. You're a hot grandma.
Oh, my God.
Which I love getting called back here. But it doesn't go well.
I didn't ask for any of this.
You asked for all of it, Andy.
And he did. He did. And he's a bit of a child here. And, you know,
Totally.
you started this relationship. It goes 50-50, and you've lied to her. She told you about her kids. She welcomed you into her world. She told all that. She opened up her entire life to you, and you're still holding back this lie. And then you have the gall to get in a fight with her about it because you still haven't told her your issues with sex. You know, which is, of course, the final hurdle he has to climb. So it has to go out this way for the construction of the movie because we have to have Andy finally confront this stuff in a very insane way. For God's sake.
You know what we haven't really said enough, which is that virginity, losing your virginity at its basic level is a fundamental rite of passage into adulthood.
Yes. 100%.
Andy, who is far more mature than the other guys he works with in a lot of ways, is not an adult. And this is a moment where you see him act, just as you said, he's acting like a child.
None of these guys are adults. They're all fucking stuck in a state of arrested development. Even Jane Lynch, who is in charge of them, she's the one hitting on a employee who is a what do you call what's the term for it? I haven't worked a job in such
subordinate.
A subordinate, yeah. I was going to say something else, but yeah, subordinate.
Submissive?
Yeah, I was going to say submissive. I really was. Subordinate. So, she shouldn't be hitting on a subordinate, but that's when you're in this kind of job. And, I've worked those jobs. They're such dead-end jobs. They're soul-sucking jobs, low self-esteem jobs. And you get caught in a pattern and you just kind of stay there because there's a comfortability to it. And so all of them are stuck in this weird kind of state of arrest development. And even Jay finally admitted a few scenes ago when he's showing the pictures of his child that, she realized all of his cheating, that he wasn't going to be a good father. Once he realized he was going to be a father, he's completely changed his approach to the whole situation. It's that growing up thing,
So Andy off on his bike angrily, he has hit the wall and gone through to the new place. And by the way, I will say again, back to the origins of my relationship with Karen, I was friend guy for several years. She started dating someone else. I got really angry, or not someone else. She started dating someone. I got really, really angry and said, I'm done with Karen. Hooked up with more women in the next several weeks than I ever had in my entire life because I didn't give a shit anymore. And and at the end of those several weeks, I hooked up with Karen, and then the next 30 years were locked in, There
you go.
So I get this.
Yeah.
We're at a club, and Jay and his wife are back together. Everything seems okay with that. There's stuff with, depending on whether you're watching the extended scene or the theatrical scene, with Cal and Dave and Bernadette and whether or not they're going to hook up.
Cal apparently reveals that he hired Bernadette to get Dave out of his funk, which really you should not do, but that is what he did here. So, and I love what it leads to, him punching him in the nuts and slapping him in the face and getting him to wake up, So in one way, Cal does speak Paul Rudd's language in that way.
I mean, Paul Rudd does need things to change in his life. I mean, he's a really troubled and troubling character.
True.
Andy is pounding shot after shot, and apparently at least some of these shots are real because Steve Carell wanted to get a little buzz on when he did this.
I need some poon. You guys are so right from the beginning. I need genital to genital connection, and that's all I need.
Everything Steve Carell does in this scene is hilarious. Because this monologue is fantastic.
You know, the thing about relationships is that they make one person go, blah, 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 and the other person go, what are you talking about? And then one person goes, blah, 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 blah.
Is Cal his best friend? Like, it occurs to me as I'm watching the movie this time around, like, it's Cal he turns to at almost every critical moment. It's Cal he has a scene with.
No, I don't think so, because when he runs out of the store angry when everyone finds out he's a virgin, the talk is with Dave.
Well, Dave chases him down.
Dave chases him down. So I don't know, but I think they all show up at different times.
I just think Andy turns to Cal in the movie.
Yeah, it could be.
More than Dave or Jay, because the grandma thing, the kids thing, the stuff with Elizabeth Banks, and then here, It seems to be Cal who is always the most. I guess I would say he's the more consistently there that Andy turns to the most. I guess I would say.
Yeah. I've been around this version of a drunk person who is alternately sweet and angry.
How much have you had to drink, man?
Oh, how much have I had to drink? Hey, how many pots have you smoking?
What are you talking about?
Oh, how many times have you gone to the bathroom in your life? Let me ask you that. You know what? You don't have an answer for that, do you? Fuck you, man. I'm sorry. No. You're such a good guy, and I appreciate you.
Oh, thinking of your last dude night.
Yes. Yes, that is exactly correct. Jay comes up. Steve Carell stands.
What's up, baby? I didn't know you came already.
Hey, motherfucker!
I literally laughed for a minute after the way Steve stands up. It's the way he like pushes himself off the wall.
Yes.
And there's just this motion. It is so fucking funny. And it's very clear they cut. We don't stay in that 2-shot and they cut to a shot of Jay. I am certain that he broke. I'm certain that he burst into laughter, and that's why we don't stay in that shot. It is so funny.
I want to bring up something that you skipped over.
Yes.
And I imagine you skipped over because maybe you don't want to think about it or don't want to talk about it or don't think it's that big of a deal. But I love the interaction between Mooj and Jay for the baby. Because Mooj gives Jay shit that it looks like a Pakistani baby, which I think is hilarious. And Jay says,
I wouldn't mind. You got good genes. Wait, how old are you? What, 138?
When your son is born, is he already on parole?
Let me tell you something. Those are funny jokes for people of color to do with each other when they know each other. And that happens. And let's make it really clear. So I like that the film introduced that in the movie to have an element of reality for people of color who watch this movie. Because when I watch that scene, I laugh my nuts off because that's what you do. You know, you give people shit. Certain friends do, rather, who are people of color. You give each other shit by playing into the stereotypes from a place of good-natured ribbing, you know? And so I like that they included that as a way of showing that, like, for all the battles we've seen Mooj and Jay have throughout their time together, they still are friends, you know? And I like that, you know?
I'm glad you brought this up because I think we spent a lot of time, you know, you and I were raised in the sticks and stones will break my bones, but words can never harm me. That's what we're supposed to believe. And then what we learned and talked about and discussed is, you know, words can harm you.
Yes,
certainly. They really can. They can have genuine harm.
Sure.
And then we got into this sort of, it doesn't matter what you intend, it only matters what you said.
Right.
Kind of realm, and we're debating this. We're trying to figure this out. It's not easy. It's not simple. And the reason I'm glad you brought this up is intent really does matter.
Oh yeah.
Like my relation, I don't think I've made many racially, you know, jokes with you.
No, we haven't. We don't do that. We don't have that
yeah.
kind of relationship. Right.
But I would generally think if I were to make one, you would know that I was joking. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because we built that up in a relationship. I mean, like if you said to me, "Oh, Steve, you're being pretty cheap. Maybe your Jewish side's coming out," or something like that. I'm not saying you would say it, but
Not right
I would
now.
know that. Yeah, definitely. But I would know that you were joking
Yes, of course.
because I understand our relationship and I understand the intent.
Right.
You know.
I mean,
all right,
Michael and I made straight gay jokes when we lived together for 2-3 years. Like we gave each other shit all the time. It was very funny. Yeah.
Because he knows that you are 100% supportive of him being gay.
Of course.
You know?
And ditto. Yeah, right. Both ways. Yeah.
So, and it is very sweet. He gives Jay a hug and tells him that he was totally right. And the hug, as they do when you're drinking a lot, seems to last awkwardly long and maybe be a little bit close.
He's literally chewing his ear off.
I mean, it's crazy. I really like it's extended in the extended scene, but I actually like the scene with Dave and Bernadette where they each talk about their horrible exes.
The truth is, I dated this woman, let me rephrase that. I dated this whore who stomped all over my heart, and it's just taken me a little while to kind of, you know, get back in the game.
Oh my God, say no more. My last boyfriend, Sal Jr., scumbag. I would totally pay people to have him killed. That's how much I fucking hate that damn scumbag.
God, you're fucking awesome.
You too.
And then they instantly start making out.
Yeah, they cut to them making out in this, which is weird. So I would have liked to have included it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it makes more sense when we get Cal hired this person for Dave, has been pushing them together, and it was finally bitching about their exes that lead them to hook up.
Agreed.
Makes it work, and the way it's in the theatrical doesn't work as well.
Yeah. And I want to give a little Hollywood behind the scenes thing. When you watch a club scene like this, there is no music being played.
Right.
They just tell you to dance around, and you feel like an utter idiot if you're an extra on the set, which I've done this a couple times when I first started out. And you're just sitting there trying to mouth a conversation while you're dancing. And so when you see people dancing behind them all, they're just kind of randomly dancing. I always love seeing scenes like this because I always want to pick out people and see what they're doing to deal with the weirdness that they're dancing to no music at all. And usually people are in a different rhythm. And so
that's the hard thing.
That's the thing. All of them are in different rhythms, so you don't even know what fucking song is playing from judging from their dancing, which is great.
Yeah, sometimes what you'll do is, for instance, if you have a song in mind, is you might do in the rehearsal, you'll play the music.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone can hear this is what's going on, and this is the volume level, and this is what the music is like. And then when you do the take, you don't play the music, and hopefully people remember what the rhythm was, but it's really hard.
Yeah.
So, and of course, next, Andy spots Beth, Elizabeth Banks. And this is going to go real quick.
Hey, looky, I can see through your shirt. Nice.
So, you think we should take this party to my apartment or what?
I am RSVPing, yes.
And she's just laughing. She is in the laughy, like everything is sexy and funny.
Hope you have a big trunk, because I'm putting my bike in it.
Oh, yeah,
Hilarious. Yeah, Elizabeth is great in this role, man. I love her in this role.
Trish is upset when Marla comes in, asks about Andy. She says she had a fight.
What happened?
Well, I just... wait a minute. I thought you hated him.
I don't hate him. I mean, he does do magic, but, you know, he's a big dork. And I like seeing you happy.
That's sweet. That's really sweet.
Why don't you just go talk to him, work it out, because nothing's that important. You can't just talk to him.
Hey, nice advice from your daughter.
Yeah.
We're at Beth's apartment. You might notice, I believe there is a fish tank in this apartment.
Yes, there is.
You might notice at the end of many films, there will be a note from the Humane Society that says that no animals were harmed in the filming of this movie. Now, you wouldn't think the 40-year-old virgin would have an issue with that. They didn't have, an elephant in the set. They didn't have dogs. They didn't have monkeys, but they did have a fish tank. And when they shut down the set at night, someone shut down the power to the fish tank.
Yes.
And all the fish died because the water wasn't circulating. And so the Humane Society refused to give the No Animals Were Harmed for this film. Yeah, killed a lot of fish.
Let me dance for you.
I would love it.
Yeah.
Look at your bra and your breasts and everything. That's so great.
Yeah.
Wow. You know what? You're so hot. You're so hot.
Let's talk about why this is happening, right? Which is, this is safe for him. He is now like, this is the way I'm going to have sex with someone who doesn't mean anything to me. And there's no connection or attachment or responsibility here, right? He thinks this is the way he wants to go because he's drunk and he's inebriated or altered. But and the reason he's doing this is because he's running away from the situation with Catherine Keener because she wants to move to the next stage and he's not 100% ready. So I kind of love this as a device in the movie to move him in this direction. And the plant of Elizabeth Banks, it was almost an hour ago, is paying off here, which is how a really well written movie is constructed. You pay off.
I agree, and it's perfect because on the one hand, it makes perfect sense, is totally motivatable and logical why he wants to have sex with Elizabeth Banks at this moment. And it totally makes sense why that is the wrong choice.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then we get into what is essentially a who's on first about butt stuff.
But if you want to.
But if I want to do what?
But
what?
Do it. Do it. What?
I don't know what you're talking about. But.
So Trish is headed out. She's heading to Andy's house. We're back with Andy and Beth. He takes off his shirt, revealing his strangely partially shaved chest, which Beth is into.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. That was a fun day.
There's a lot of stuff going on. There's just a lot of stuff.
Yeah, because then she wants to like shave his head and do all this kind of, so she's into all the madness of it all. Yeah.
Man, he's in the deep zone. He's in the deep end of the pool at this point. Like those little floaters he has around his arms are not going to help him in this situation.
His floaters got him into the deep end of the pool. Now he can't get out. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Let's get in the bath.
In the bathtub?
Yes, we're gonna get dirty. Sudsy.
It's just about time I got really dirty.
Yeah.
And then Trish in her car is calling Andy basically with a lovely sort of whatever you need.
50 dates, 100, I hope not, but whatever. I'm gonna see you soon, okay?
Because she's heading towards his house.
Right.
Like Beth pulls the belt out. She's like,
wow. I came out fast.
And then she whips him.
Ow, wow.
And that is the moment. Like, I think up to this moment, he's like, this is weird, but I'm going to just roll with it.
Yeah.
And now I think he sobered up real quick of like, I'm in a situation here.
I just want to please you. What do you like?
And he doesn't know what he likes.
Yeah.
Can I show you what I like?
Okay.
And she takes off her robe.
Can I tell you something? What does she make at this bookstore? Because this place is like,
Totally.
This is a very expensive apartment. Like the fish tank alone is thousands of dollars. And the blue light and all of that. Then the bathroom looks to have like a special bathroom, and even what she's about to use has all kinds of certain electronic adjustments, which is amazing. So it's kind of
this is a nice
apartment. Yeah.
I hadn't thought about this moment. I'm going to throw this out. I have no evidence of this. I'm not saying that this is what I believe, but she could be married.
Or have a few sugar daddies, which is probably...
Or have multiple sugar daddies. Yeah. So she gets in the tub. Apparently, Elizabeth Banks was both totally fearless and completely naked. She just went for it 100% and was just... She was going for it. That's all the information I have in this scene.
And then she goes for it.
I want to introduce you to my friend.
Grabs the shower head.
Your friend is so shiny.
This guy knows exactly what I like.
John, you said several times you've had flashbacks in the course of this this conversation.
Yes.
I don't know if you've been in this situation, but you've given me the impression you've been in some situations.
Oh, with women who are not 100% stable? Yes. Or shall we say wild? Because I've grown from and spoken to some women who've educated me on the calling women certain women crazy is not the best way to deal with it, and I totally respect that. So I will say wild. I've been with I have a lot of wild women in my past, in my 20s and 30s, and a little bit in my 40s, and it is always like I'm always of two minds when it's happening, which is one, like experiencing it, and then two, living outside my body, experiencing it. So dating is a very unusual thing in the world, man. So yeah, I've had moments like this for sure.
I certainly really haven't had the dating moments, but I've definitely had the moments where you're in a room and you're like, "Oh, I'm in a bad spot.
Yeah,
I'm in a thing. There's a thing going on here," and that's what's happening with Andy right now.
Wow, this is graphic.
And he just suddenly realizes, I can't do it. And he turns to leave. And as he turns to leave, strangely enough, just outside the bathroom are his three friends. And what's interesting is the three morons have been discussing it, and they have come to the right conclusion.
Yeah.
We've been talking. And look, if you love Trish, you can't do this.
Look, you guys, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I don't even know who I am. All I know is that woman scares the shit out of me, and I just want to go home, okay?
I've so been that person. Like, I just want to go home. I don't know what's happening. I need to go home.
Yeah.
And they say, yeah, we should all get out of here. And they all start turning to go. Everyone except Cal, who is lingering. And he said,
okay, we should all go.
It wasn't that good for me.
We should totally get out of here. We should run away from here.
I love his walk going in as he starts taking off his shirt, and she just laughs when he goes,
"Hey." Cal.
It's no problem for her whatsoever
Nope.
that there was a tag team here and we swapped out.
She's a wild one.
He gets back home. Trish is there and she turns around angry.
Hey there. Hi, Trish.
And he starts to apologize, but she has found the big box of porn from David. And then the next thing she finds is the model vagina. And this is throwing out her whole image of what's going on because she pulls up what looks like a really big pill and goes,
What's this? Is your date drug? Your roofie?
It's a Mentos. They're the fresh maker.
and this is now she goes like, it's actually where we started, which is the reason that they never invited Andy out was Cal worried he might be a serial killer.
What are you, some kind of sex pervert? Are you a deviant or
No,
something?
I'm not a sexual
Well,
deviant.
What is all this?
I haven't even tried to have sex with you, so...
What are you trying to do? What are you buttering me up for?
Oh, come on.
Well, you're not going to try and kill me, are you?
And one of the keys of this is he didn't get new carpet, which was the lie that he said when he cleared out the room before.
I'm not trying to kill you. I love you. I love you.
Oh, God. Oh!
Trish.
The music hits as she runs out the door. He jumps on his bike and chases her to Heat of the Moment by Asia. Great, strong choice.
And nice plant because we had planted the Asia poster earlier in the film. Yeah.
Exactly. She's accelerating. He basically rides cross country and we see that perfume ad like trailer, which we've seen earlier in the movie. Yeah. And he comes back onto the street, crashes right into her, flips over her and through the fabric of that perfume ad and lands on the street on his back. She runs up, terrified.
Andy!
Oh, wow.
Andy, oh my God.
Yep, I'm gonna need a minute.
Oh my
I'm in a lot of pain right now.
Oh my God, are you okay?
God, there were two sides to that billboard, and they both hurt equally.
Are you okay?
I'm okay. No, I'm not okay. I'm a virgin.
And the music hits.
A what?
I'm a virgin. I always have been.
You know, it brings a little tear to my eye, this scene. I really like it.
It's so well the film leads to the perfect moment here. You know, because he didn't tell her, he has to pay a little bit of a price. And going through that billboard onto the asphalt is the price he has to pay. But it's finally the final straw that forces him to tell her, to reveal everything to her, which he's been trying to do in certain moments and also trying to escape from doing throughout most of the movie. And it's when all his guards are completely down that he can finally tell. And she receives it so well.
No, that's why I never tried to have sex with you. I was scared, okay? Because I didn't know what I was doing. I just didn't think it would be good.
Of course it'll be good. We love each other.
Yeah. Bang!
Really?
I love you.
Just as they kiss, there's a honk.
Get the fuck out of the road, virgin!
And this is her man, so she wheels around and tells him to shut the fuck up, which I think is great. Yeah.
And the next line, you know me, soppy lines make me cry. So I'm going to say this line, and I'll probably get teary as I do it, but that's okay because I'm a big sentimental softie.
You know what? For so long, I've thought that there was something wrong with me because it had never happened. But I realize now that it was just because I was waiting for you.
Great line. Yep. We cut to, there's like fabric blowing in this beautiful outdoor space, and we are at the wedding.
How the paper rolls.
Dude sells his toys and makes like $500,000. It's crazy, right?
It's fucking crazy.
What's really crazy is that the person performing the ceremony is Loudon Wainwright III, the singer.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think is hilarious.
Andy, you may kiss the bride. And for God's sake, consummate the thing.
They go running upstairs to a hotel. He carries her into the room. They're kissing. It's super romantic. We're about to consummate, and there is a dude buffing the marble.
I'm not gonna be done buffing the marble for about a half an hour, but you can come in and sit down if you want, or wait in the lobby. It's okay.
And I think it's great because Trish stood up for Andy against the guy who honked the horn in the last scene.
Right, right.
But this time it's Andy who says,
Dude, get the fuck out of here!
Yeah, because Andy is finally ready to do it. Yeah.
Yep. He's really ready.
Yeah.
And it's the moment before we're kissing. They're in bed. He's on top of her. And then we hear,
Wow.
You're officially not a virgin.
Fade out. The caption comes on the screen. 1 minute later.
Yeah, well.
Come back in. We're in the top-down shot. His eyes are wide open.
Wow. Want to do it again?
And they start again. Fade out.
Yeah.
Caption. 2 hours later. Come back to the same shot. She looks completely wrecked.
So how was that for you?
And there's a pause. And then in a complete film surprise breaks into
When the moon is in the seventh house.
Well, this was the jokes back then, right? Because I mean, even in Anchorman, when he has sex with Christina Applegate the first time, he breaks into that song and they're riding horses and that animated sequence. So it is part of it, you know. And I guess I thought this is a very funny convention to use to convey song or convey joy after sex, because, you know, sometimes it can feel like that. You're like lost in this kind of joyful song, you know.
Well, and this is, I mean, they really want, they're like, okay, he's a virgin. He's a 40-year-old virgin. So when he has to be a big deal.
Yeah.
But the key to it was given to them by Gary Shandling. And Judd Apatow was a disciple of Gary Shandling and a good friend and made the documentary about him.
Yes.
Is that what Gary Shandling said was, he said, it's not just important to show that Andy has good sex. It's important to show that Andy has good sex because he is actually in love with Trish.
Right.
And that is the theme of the movie. And so it was that sort of thought that actually shaped a bunch of the film and made this scene part of what's making this really work.
Yes. And you get both jokes. One, that it's over in a minute the first time they do it. So the audience that can laugh at that joke, but then they do it in 2 hours later, you get the lead into the Aquarius, because that exactly is what Gary Shandling said was the point of the movie, which is great. Yeah.
Yeah. And he gets up and he runs out of frame, and then he runs into frame, joined by his shirtless buddies in a big musical number of Aquarius and Let the Sunshine In. And it's so funny. This was like a thing. I mean, well, it goes back when we did Blues Brothers years ago. Blues Brothers ends with all the cast and crew singing a song.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Jailhouse Rock. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And they do it. Something About Mary, I think, does this thing. There are a bunch of movies that sort of do this thing, and it's very fun watching all these people. We have a bunch of characters from the film. Apparently, Jill and Jay are doing great despite his philandering. We see Jonah Hill showed up. Jonah Hill is wearing like a poncho and like a hat for no particular reason, and it was really, really hot that day. And Judd Apatow and the other people and Seth Rogen were like, dude, why don't you take off your poncho and hat? And Jonah Hill, I think, if my understanding is correctly, decided to stay in character Daniel Day-Lewis style all day, and therefore refused to take off any of these clothes until he passed out from heat stroke.
And people say he's difficult to work with. I don't know where that came from for Jonah.
Well, and when you decide to stay in character all day for your character that was in one scene, you know,
kind of a self-righteous prick.
I mean, I've never met the guy, but you know.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's little filming things is Steve Carell is clearly sweating through his white shirt.
Oh, yeah.
And they did not have enough extra white shirt. This is what you have to do when you're the costume crew, is like, we're going to be doing dancing on a hot day.
Yeah.
We gotta have 27 different shirts. Because they did so much improv on set, they did something that very few films ever do, which is they shot over 1 million feet of film.
Wow.
And when you shoot 1 million feet of film, Technicolor, the company selling you the film, buys the whole cast and crew champagne. So one day when they crossed the 1 million feet mark, Technicolor showed up with many, many bottles of champagne for them because they shot so much film.
As a thank you. Yeah, exactly.
The movie went 5 days over schedule. The editor is Brent White. Test screenings did not go well. They, you know, normally we say test screenings are off the charts. This one wasn't. It was uncomfortable. It was unfunny. It was too dirty. They removed a bunch of scenes. They reshaped it. By the way, Romany Malco saw the first cut of the film and went to Judd and said, hey, can you cut me out of the entire movie? It's too filthy. My mom is an ordained minister and I cannot show my mom. So can you please cut me out of the whole film?
Wow.
Which
this may be
is
why he doesn't talk about the film anymore.
But this is what happens. So obviously Apatow says, no, it would not be possible to cut you out of the whole film. Not only did mom go, She loved the movie. She went back to her church, took her church groups multiple times to see the film.
Yeah.
And that is all the notes I have on the 40-Year-Old Virgin. Do you have any final thoughts?
Final thoughts are, I'm so glad we did this. I love this movie, and it was great to open the door to exploring a film like this that deals with this stuff in a very mature way, with still blue collar jokes and filthy jokes, dirty jokes, and all of that. But there's a very sweet heart at the center of this, which I say about a number of movies that we enjoy talking about here on the show, but it's true. And as we saw throughout the movie, there is a way that Virginity is treated, I think, is very respectful and fun and playful, and it removes the stigma of it in its own way, which I think is so positive about the movie. And by the end, you're left with a much more, how can I say this? A much more pleasant feeling about everything involved with this stuff. And I think in some ways, this film is ahead of its time because the way it's dealing with sexuality and virginity and all of that is very similar to the way people feel nowadays from the younger generations about sex, that it's something that it should be waited on, wait till you feel it with somebody, and that there's something much more fulfilling about having sex for the first time with someone that you love, rather than just trying to get laid randomly with people in your life. Not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just saying that I think this film is ahead of its time in how it approaches it. And it obviously launches so many careers out of this movie. Almost anybody who has lines in this movie goes on to do a lot of work in the comedy field and in the drama field as well, as we see with Seth Rogen.
So there's a chapter in my upcoming book on directing called The Director's Toolbox called Deliverables. And the basic idea of it's in the screenwriting section. And the basic idea is that there's certain kind of movies where you have certain things you have to deliver. So if you're doing a kung fu movie, well, there better be great fight scenes or your kung fu movie fails. If you're saying this is a horror movie and there are no great scares, then your horror movie fails. This is what your movie has to deliver to succeed. Comedies have to deliver laughs.
Yeah.
And this 100% delivers those laughs because, as you said, you have, literally titans of comedies on their way up, and there are all sorts of bits that are really, really funny.
Right.
But the reason for me to do the film is what's underneath all that, which is there is a real sweetness, and that this is really a movie about intimacy and about love.
Yeah.
And in some ways, I think that all of that is dependent on Catherine Keener and Steve Carell, is that if you didn't really feel for their relationship and feel like, oh, this really makes sense and works, then all the comedy and all the bits wouldn't be making this movie a great movie. It's those things in combination that makes it a great movie.
Agreed.
So that's what we think of the 40-Year-Old Virgin. Of course, we'd love to hear your thoughts. You can visit us on Facebook. Just do a search for the Cine-Files. It's Cine_Files on X. It's the Cine-Files podcast on Instagram. You subscribe to the show at all the usual places to subscribe to podcasts. If you haven't left a review on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, we'd love that. We'd love your comments on YouTube and Spotify. You can buy or stream the 40-Year-Old Virgin along with every other film we've ever reviewed on Cine-Files.net. And if you want to reach me, it's SR Morris on Twitter, SR Morris1 on Instagram. John, how would they reach you?
You can always reach me at The Rocha Says on all social media platforms, and my YouTube channel, youtube.com/John Rocha Says, to see all the stuff we got going on there on the new John Rocha channel.
And as always, we always appreciate your support on patreon.com/The Cine-Files, as well as Apple Podcasts. And I think that's it for this week. We will be back next time with an all-new film right here on The Cine-Files.